Welcome to Nimin Live, the #1 place on the internet to learn about YouTube, network with other content creators, and have an awesome time doing it. My name is Nick, and today we're answering your YouTube questions. And when I say we, I mean myself, my brother from the same mother, and a special guest, which you probably saw in the thumbnail. But before we get to that, we do have some YouTube news. So YouTube has made some clarity, or added some clarity to their monetization policy, because they've been using language that is unclear, and because of that, it's created a lot of confusion in the community, because people, they hear the words coming from YouTube, but they seem kind of hollow. So because of that, they've added some clarifications to the things that are getting channels demonetized or causing channels to not be allowed to monetize. So this isn't a new policy. They've just added clarity to their monetization policies. So basically, with this, what they're saying is, if we start with generic or repetitive content, we have that they are looking for content that looks like it's made with a template, or content that may feel repetitive to viewers after watching several videos in a row from the same channel. So if you're making content where, it's not fresh from video to video, then in that case, it might fall under this. For example, they're looking for content that has low educational value, little commentary, minimal variation across numerous videos of the same channel, videos where characters are put in the same situation over and over again with the same outcome, image slideshows, templated storylines, and AI-generated content made with generic or unoriginal templates, giving the impression of mass production without adding the creator's original, authentic insights or perspective. So the way to think about this is, when you're putting your content together, most of us are going to be okay with this. But for the AI creators that do watch or listen to this, what you want to make sure that you're doing is, even if you are using AI, they're totally fine with you using AI. We're going to talk about that here a little bit deeper in a minute. But with all of this, the idea is to make sure that as a creator, that you're, creating, right? That you're being creative, that you're adding your own perspective to things, that you're adding your own way, or your own styles to things, that you are presenting something that other people aren't going to be able to replicate as easily in terms of mechanically, right? Of having, AI, kind of recreate what it is that you're doing. In addition to that, they also have mentioned that they are also looking for unsatisfying or off-putting content. And this is content that relies heavily on emotionally manipulative formulas. It mimics existing formats or stories to a degree that the videos feel interchangeable, or appears designed to shock or surprise viewers for the sole purpose of getting views. It's content that uses deceptive or misleading imagery or narratives, such as realistic visuals, tricking viewers into believing something like a fake celebrity death or a natural disaster has occurred. So, I know most people here aren't doing those sorts of things, but maybe you have a segment in your video, or in a lot of your videos, like if you're talking about, let's say, politics, or, just world events, that sort of thing. When you have those types of things in your videos, you, one, need to make sure that you're, being very clear on the disclosure side that it is AI generated. If you are, using imagery or AI generated videos that look like things actually happen in real life, to where somebody might be fooled by that. And let's talk really quick about using AI in your content. So first, YouTube is very clear that they are perfectly fine with content creators using AI, especially if you're using their tools, right? Because they make a lot of AI tools available for content creators as well. But one of the things that they were running into is that people were uploading videos. I actually know somebody that was doing this. They were uploading videos as doctors, AI avatars, as doctors, as, wellness practitioners, as dentists, and all of these other things. And they are presenting these AI avatars as actual people, and they are giving real advice that may or may not be accurate, instead of them giving advice from the perspective of a real doctor, right? So with that, that's also one of the things that they're looking for, is if you are generating anything like that, then you're also not going to be able to monetize. And if you currently have it out there and it hasn't been detected yet, then in that case, you do want to make sure you get all that stuff cleaned up, so that once it comes, once it does get to you, if it hasn't already, that you don't have to worry about, getting your channel demonetized if you're monetized already. And if you are making content and you're gunning towards monetization, and you are doing something like that, then in that case, now you know that you're not going to be able to be monetized. So because of that, you need to, dial that back quite a bit. Now, when it comes to YouTube news, that's what we have for today. I also want to let you know that this stream is brought to you by Opus Clip. Opus Clip is a tool that helps you get more out of the content that you're publishing. So for example, if you are doing something like we are, where we do these live streams for a long period of time on our YouTube channels, you can use Opus Clip to clip these live streams up like we do, and you can create new YouTube accounts with it. You can create a new TikTok account, a new Instagram account, that sort of thing, and you can start publishing your Opus Clip videos there. And depending on, you know, the content and the actual clips that it makes, you can also use those on your regular channel as well, like a lot of creators do. But you can learn more about Opus Clip at opusclip.com, or if you want to hook me up with an affiliate commission, you can go to tryopusnow.com. Now, with all of that out of the way, and I kind of rushed through that because I'm super excited for the guest that we have here today.
I can't wait to bring him in.
Yeah, me either. So I'm like rushing through everything so we can get him in here because
whenever he speaks, whenever he comes into a live event, I have to know what's going on. I have to know what the updates are. I have to know what's in the pipeline. I have to know what knowledge he has up in that head that he's willing to share.
Right.
Because I take away multiple things every single time he's in a live event, and here he is.
Yeah, so when it comes to our guest today, he is one of the people that, you know, content creators go to that have experience, that know what it is that they're doing, that, you know, if they are stuck, if they're in a rut, you know, they call Derral and they ask Derral for help. But Derral Eves is I just blew it, but he is the founder. He's the executive producer of The Chosen. He is the founder of VidSummit, which is the conference for YouTube content creators. It's coming up September 29th through October 1st in Dallas, Texas. If you're not familiar with VidSummit is the conference for content creators. So if you make videos for YouTube, this is the place that you want to go. So with this, you go here to not only just learn about YouTube, which you're going to get a ton of information, but you also go here to network with other content creators. And one of the beauties when it comes to VidSummit is you're going to learn a ton from all of the, you know, conversations that are had on stage, but you also learn a lot when it comes to the conversations that you have in the hallways from experiences of all of the creators that are also there, you know, sharing their passion and their love for YouTube, and everybody, you know, freely sharing with each other the things that are working, the, you know, how people overcame obstacles that they're having and those sorts of things. But this is happening, and we're going to be talking about this throughout the show today, but this is happening again September 29th through October 1st in Dallas, Texas. And you can go to vidsummit.com to check out more about that and go ahead and get a ticket because you definitely want to go if you are a content creator. In addition to that, he's the author of the YouTube Formula. This book here helps you unlock YouTube to get more views, build an audience, and make money from YouTube. And I'm going to be asking him about a second version of this because I know it's coming. I just don't know when it's coming. But make sure you stay tuned for that. But you can get this down in the video description as well. And he works with some of the biggest creators on YouTube and has so many gold play buttons that he literally leaves some of them in the box. Like most of us, we would get a gold play button and we'd be excited. We'd rip that box to shreds trying to get it. With Derral, it's like, oh, another gold play button. Okay, we will just throw this over here in the pile. But ladies and gentlemen, Derral Eves. Oh, you hit the add to stage button again. Okay, it's not working on my side, D. Hit it on your side.
Awesome.
Yep. Oh, there we go. Nope.
There you go.
Did you get him? There we go.
Wow.
All right. Yep.
Great build up and then text.
Yeah, I know, right? Had it there for a second. Yeah, had it for a second, but lost it. How you doing, Derral?
Doing fantastic. How you both doing? Doing good?
Yeah, fantastic, man. I'm really excited. One, just to connect again. Number two, I'm really excited because, you know, when it comes to YouTube, you know, a lot changes over time. And, you know, for people that have been hanging out here, year after year, some people, you know, they see you come on every year and, you know, still learning every year in terms of, like Dee was saying, you know, staying up to date with what's going on. And because of that, I'm excited to.
Not only what's going on, but what's coming.
Right, and what's coming.
And what's coming.
But, you know, because of that, I'm excited to, learn from you today and hear what it is that you have to say. And, man, I'm pumped.
Do you know what's interesting is YouTube has predictable patterns as a company. And the whole reason why I wrote the YouTube formula, section 1, a lot of people are like, why are you giving the history of YouTube? And I'm like, well, the reason why you want to understand YouTube, when you understand the culture and what they are founded on, then it's not going to surprise you when things come up. So like the whole AI thing, of them demonetizing a lot of channels and then, coming a little bit hard over here is literally not surprising. It's kind of what they do. They kind of open it up and then they're like, okay, figure out who's bad actors and then bring it back in. It's a very common thing. And so, that's kind of interesting in the sense of like, once you understand not just the algorithm of how it works, but just the company itself and what the grounding principles are, it helps you know how to succeed. It helps you know how to have guardrails. And so, I get passionate about it. I get excited about it, especially with all these changes that are happening. And I think we're in the next iteration of amazing content creators. Like I really do. So I'm really excited to see, what the new platform and then the way that people are using YouTube now. Can't wait for us to see, how formats change and then also the new creators that come on. So.
Yeah. So speaking of changes in formats, that's a great place to start. So, we have, YouTube rolling out the shows feature right now. Well, what are your thoughts on the shows feature? Is that something that, that you're going to be instructing your clients to use, or is that something that?
Yeah, very predictable. Like in the sense that when I look at feature set, so 2 years ago, YouTube overtook Netflix to become the #1 app on the TV, and then they got quite a bit of distance between them and everybody else, and that's just for YouTube proper. That's not for YouTube TV or anything. And then if you notice, a lot of content creators, are now making better content that's geared for more of a lean back experience, like a co-viewing experience. And so that was a huge request, because one of the frustrating things as a creator would be, hey, mine is meant to be watched in a series. And you used to have series playlist where you could put them in and it would automatically recommend that next one. Well, they took that away because people like myself found exploits in it, and just like there's ways to force the views to come in. And so they kind of readjusted it. Now they found, the way to really organize it on TV when you're on that device type, in a way to connect and go deeper without that disruption. So it's like almost like what Netflix does when you're watching, a season and you're like going into it, it's going to roll into it. When you're in that lean back experience, like YouTube's going to be super smart. It knows exactly who you are, what device type you're on, and then your patterns of viewership, and so that right there is exciting. And so, yes, I 100%, I had some big YouTubers in my home yesterday. I do channel Jumpstart, and I have like this inner circle where they come to me and we just kind of, mastermind in my home. And every one of them, I'm like, where's your strategy on this? And like, we talked in depth about it, because when like 70% or 80% of all your views, and that's what it was for these guys' case, is coming from TV, you need to think TV first in the sense of how people are actually engaging with your content.
And when you are thinking about shows, for example, because, just so everybody knows, so when YouTube is releasing this feature, it's already out, what they're looking for is looking for high quality content that has, repeatable things that you're doing. So for example, like when it first starts, you're doing certain things, and you move into the next thing, and you create that comfortable experience as people are going through the content, just like if you're watching Netflix or something like that. Yep. So Derral, when you are right now through the conversations like you were having yesterday, for example, like what are some things that that people should be thinking about when they're thinking about putting a show together? So just to be clear, this isn't something to where, people should be thinking like, hey, I have a, channel where I am, showing people how to do something, so let me make shows around that. This is more of a, I am going to be entertaining people in some way, or, keep people up to date with something in some way, or something like that, right?
Yeah, so I would say I would look at it like this. So Ryan Trahan, way back when, did a penny series. It's a series, right? And so it's like episodic in the sense of what was he going to do that day that would get him to the end result. And he's taking a penny all the way to Mr. Beast. It was like long time ago. And it was done all in the month of June, and families jumped on and started to watch the series. And so they were on every day because he was doing it every day. That would be one of those things that would qualify as a series. So it's like, hey, this is a special event. It's something that's going on. It's meant to be consumed, all of it. And you can come in at any time and get caught up fairly quickly, but it's meant to be in a series. And so he did 50 days, 50 states, same series type. So I would say don't think a video and you're going to say, oh, this is my video and these are all the types of videos I want to have, and this I'm going to call it a series. I think you do a disservice to the viewer if they're expecting something special. But like, let's just say that I'm like, hey, I'm a travel channel and I'm literally going to go visit my brothers from a different mother in Thailand, and we're going to have this amazing experience over there, and it's going to be 10 specific videos that we need to get. I need to ride an elephant. I don't know if that's even possible, but that would be what I would consider, okay, something special is something that people would want to watch from the beginning to the end. It'd be longer than just a video that equate into a series. Now, a show is a little bit different, and that's why they have both features on it. The show portion of it is you might have a very specific different audience on the same channel that you want to do a very specific piece of content. So you might say, look, I have this one, we do a vlog format, we do whatever, but I want to do these challenge shows. And so YouTube's doing that as saying, hey, it has an adjacent audience, it's the same audience, whatever, different type of format. It's totally different type of format. And so let's go ahead and put that together differently. Now, I would be more hesitant on that end, where I'm more comfortable with the series, the show feature yet. I don't know how that's going to work completely. If how it's going to be recommending. Time will tell. But I think the big thing for me is series. I'm locked in on that. The show feature. I think it's too early to judge what it can do. I do know that YouTube always gives it a boost of visibility right out of the gate when it meets the standards. But I would say a show would be more like Michelle Carre's, series, well, I guess it's still a series, but it's like really, really high produced. And maybe what she does is put out other content that isn't highly produced. And this other one could be, I think time will tell on that.
Yeah, I'm excited for shows. I think it's great because I think that, as YouTube leans more, not leans more, they're fully, in there now, but, with TV, I think that it's just the next logical step in terms of, making those, shows for TV and just creators that are able to do it, just leveling things up to that point to where, they're able to take advantage of this opportunity. And like you mentioned, in terms of them getting extra love, as long as they meet the standard that YouTube has for what they are, defining as a show, then in that case, right now, especially, for anybody that's listening, is a great time to start, working on that because Derral, would you agree that when they have new features like this that come out, it's kind of a new opportunity when it comes to YouTube as well, because there's not a ton of inventory, so to speak, when it comes to serving it to people.
Yeah, I would say YouTube is going to push whatever their leaders are always wanting to push. It doesn't matter what it is. And they're going to put an additional focus. So I can tell you what that is, and I want everyone to understand it. It's not rocket science here. They care about the TV. They literally do, from every aspect of it. They spent quite a bit of investment trying to get into the cable TV side market, and now they're starting to dominate that in ways that they never even thought. And that creates an interesting bridge where people are thinking YouTube TV, then YouTube, and you kind of blending. The shows feature will now let it blend. And so that's where I feel like it's going to go into a new format where it's like, oh, you're able to watch it on YouTube TV. And I think that's kind of what they're looking for. So it would be YouTube originals, but creators were going to do it. And it's like, hey, we're curating this, or or these guys meet the standard of what we're looking to do, and it'll I believe, bring in a new audience, because there's a lot of the people that are watching YouTube TV aren't necessarily watching YouTube as much. Some do, some don't. And so I believe that's going to bring in new audiences, new love for them. And it's similar to what's happening on other platforms like, Amazon Prime and Netflix, where, and even Tubi, where they're establishing audiences and then discovering who they are. And then they're expanding the brand off a platform. And I think YouTube is definitely going to leverage that. Now, the second thing I want everyone to realize, what YouTube is really focusing in on is live. The more the AI is prevalent with creators, there's a taste and a desire for authenticity, and it's hard to fake a live. And so for YouTube, they've always been pushing at, and they'll kind of go into some live shopping and stuff like that. We're a few years behind what China trends generally. Yeah. And so we're going to see a lot of that. And so we're starting to see a rise of UGC creators. I don't know if anyone knows about that. We have a couple sessions at VidSummit about UGC creators.
Oh, nice.
And what that is it's the lowest barrier of entry for you to make money on the internet. From my point of view, it's just so easy. And really quick, Derral, if you don't mind, just for anybody that doesn't know what UGC is, that stands for user generated content. So what that is where you would connect with a brand to make videos on their behalf. Or, it could not even necessarily like a big brand. I know there's subreddits, for example, where people go into those subreddits looking for people to promote their apps and promote their, Chrome extensions and promote their software as a service and things like that. And that's just a great entry point, like Derral's talking about. That's a great entry point to be able to make money from content while you're still working on getting monetized and, you're doing whatever it is that you're doing with your YouTube channel. It's just one additional opportunity that you have from the skill set of knowing how to make content. I just know a couple of my students have gone through Channel Jumpstart. Like they set a goal of, hey, this is what I want to do. And I'm like, okay, if you want to be full time, let's look at every opportunity and take the first opportunity. And there was this one individual, I haven't asked them if I could share their story, but I can share their story without telling who they are. But they came in, they were struggling with just finding their voice, finding their audience, right? But they were really good on camera. And so I'm like, hey, if you're going to reach your goal, you might want to think UGC, and they're like, what's UGC? And I'm like, well, it's where your face, your likeness, you're using it to promote products for others. And, you can get into a realm and you can make thousands a month where you're able to quit your job and go and do. And what's interesting is, and I just got a text from them, but they made $100,000 last month. So nice. It'd be like $1.2 million, if they could be consistent. And I'm like, man, what a journey. Like, no, I don't think everyone has the same journey, and they're doing what they love. They've been able to expand it out a little bit where they actually have more of a factory of UGC, because they have friends and they hire them. And, it's been quite an amazing opportunity for this individual. And I think that's where a lot of you are at. I work with a lot of content creators, and some people, they're going to just do it. When it happens, and they're passionate about what they're doing. And I applaud that. I really do. Some of you just are trying to change your lifestyle. And you see this as an opportunity. And I would just say, where's the easiest way for you to replace income or bring in that income that you're looking for to get the reps in? Because maybe your 100 videos is not necessarily on your main channel. Maybe it's over here, on a UGC content. So.
Yeah, and when it comes to making UGC content, you're not necessarily fighting against audience retention and things like that. You are explaining a product or, something along those lines to where, you're not having to, be as, detailed as you might have to be or strategic as you might be on a YouTube video, which is really cool. And as a side thing, also, just as a heads up for everybody, for those of you that are doing brand deals and those sorts of things, you can also add UGC into your brand deals sometimes as well. So that's one of the things that Dee and I have always done is, when we are working with brands, is we offer ourselves, as part of the deal to, make some content for their channels or live stream, on their channels, at a certain cadence and those sorts of things. And that's also a great way to, add to the deals that you're doing as well, as long as your content type and, the way that you do things, works out for that approach. So when just really quick back to shows. So when it comes to shows, just because it is, a new thing, do you have any just quick tips for anybody that is interested in doing shows in terms of just just get these things in order first when you are putting a show together?
Yeah, so generally I like to do what I wrote in the YouTube formula is recon and research. Like I want to go understand the landscape before I go and do. I think a lot of people will get advice and they just jump right in and they make bigger mistakes than if they would just take a little bit more time, to really define what it is. And so I would just start looking at what are the shows available right now that's marked as shows, and what do they have in common, and then two, where they're at now. When I say where they're at, I think the edit will change significantly on certain types of content, and the reason why is because if you have someone's full attention, like I'm going to the Odyssey today. I bought my ticket a year ago.
So pumped for that. Oh, so pumped for that.
I bought my ticket a year ago. Okay. Do you think I'm going to be leaving in the first 5 seconds because the hook's bad? Right. No, I'm ready to watch the show, so for me, I'm good with that. You know what I'm saying? And I think you're going to see formats that are different. And what most people will do will say, oh, I can just do this on YouTube. Well, no. It's the how people consume and where they're at. So for me, going to the Odyssey, it would take a lot for me to walk out of the theater. And in fact, I about walked out of Last Jedi. It was this close, because it was just man, just so depressing. I only watched it once and I wish I could take that out. So I have a little bit of PTSD. But the reality is it's the state of where they're at and how they're watching. So on YouTube, you're going to really look at, oh man, I got to pull them in. I need to bring them into the story. And then two, if they're in a show format, they're probably, might know, love, and trust the creator enough where they will have better attention. As long as you're good at entertaining them or, informing them or, educating them, in that show format. So
you mentioned something there about liking and trusting the creator.
Yeah.
So what type of strategies do you have around that? So one of the things that, as a content creator, the thing that everybody wants as a content creator is, that community of people that are, coming back and they're watching their videos and they're, engaging with that creator. What are your recommendations for people that are at the entry point and they're trying to, put themselves in the position where they are creating a community around their YouTube channel?
Yeah, so let me give you an example, because this is an example that was the YouTubers that were here yesterday. So 2 YouTubers started this channel. They started to grow rapidly. They had a specific style where the content was very, very good. They were fun. They were engaging. They got to different points in their life where they didn't want the YouTube channel anymore, and then they sold it. And I'm telling you that's almost death on YouTube to sell something if you don't understand the creative juices behind it. And 2 brothers bought the YouTube channel for an amount that's undisclosed, right? They come on and their views just tanked. It was just not even good. It was they thought it was about the project and it had nothing to do with about the project. So that's where they hired me to come in and help them get where they needed to be. And so, going from hundreds of thousands of views, down to thousands of views it's a big blow, especially when you put a lot of money into it. And then 2, the type of videos that they do, there's a lot of time and effort put into it. And so it's just like, okay, trying to find their voice. So the first thing I was doing is like, hey, people don't know who you are. They're oblivious of everything that happened. They don't understand the transaction that occurred. There wasn't a clear, setting you up as the hero. And so you're coming in and they're like, what's going on? What's happening? And so new people that are coming on don't have the history of people that have been watching for a while, but you don't have loyalty. Loyalty is your number one thing that you need to focus in on. And so the elements that I shared with them is that they needed to bring some personality into it. Like what makes them different than them. Don't try to copy the personalities of the other two that owned it prior. Just be you. Right. And we define what that looked like. We define how they would approach the content. And it was kind of hit or miss for a little bit because they're still trying to find their voice. But it's just more be uniquely you. And how are you going to connect with the community? And so we talked about a couple triggers that the viewers would actually have in coming in. One would be when they expected one thing and they get another, nobody likes that. It's not good. So how do we take that bridge over and help them understand that? And then after that, it was more about consistency of the ideation, so that they knew consistently, they're still going in the direction that I want it to go, or they're going in the direction where it's going to be fun and exciting. There's a lot of curiosity around it. So it's that consistency, but then also the consistency in how they're bringing the viewer in and how they're engaging with them, how they're engaging.
Could you give me an example in terms of that consistency? Like, just because, to be clear with everybody, it's not just about upload cadence. It's also, just how your tone, how you're communicating with, the people that are watching your videos and so on. Can you give us just an example of what you mean by that consistency?
Yeah. So if let's just say that you do a travel channel, so we would just use that as an example, right? Like I wouldn't have an upload of me just sitting in my house playing Fortnite. I'm playing a lot of Minecraft lately. So Minecraft, I would say you wouldn't do that. So the consistency would be looking at the formats that are bringing the viewer in and what make it unique. And you want to be consistent in the type of format that they're consuming, so that video A that they're watching isn't different than from video B in the sense of the heart of the content. Because if it's completely the opposite, if it's a different type of fill, that you're not going to build a community from it. You might have a great video and it's going to pop off, but you're going to have a different audience. The audience loves consistency. And I'll just say this for any Star Wars fan. So like for me, original trilogy I love. Prequels are really, really good from my point of view. Especially there's the Clone Wars animation. I love that too. Outside of that, everything's a piece of trash except for Rogue One.
I was just gonna say Rogue One. Rogue One is one of my favorites.
Yeah. And it's great. And it's the prequel to the prequel. So it's like, it's good. But the point that I'm getting is, when someone missteps, the consistency was broken on the storyline. Like you can't just reinvent who Luke Skywalker is and make him into something that he's not. Like he was supposed to be elevated from it, and he was elevated from it. And so like for me, that's that part of consistency, is understanding your audience, understanding what they're coming in and wanting to get. And then two, being consistent where the elements of the video and the things that you're setting up are specifically organized in a way where they feel like, I feel like this is familiar to me, is something I love, is something I want to be a part of. I would say the best channel for you guys to all look at is some students of mine, Pat Flynn and Dan Norton. It's Deep Pocket Monster. Like go watch that. Their content is really, really good, but you can see the consistency of how they're pulling into the story and what they're doing. Because like when they started the channel, I'm like, Pat, you cannot be an expert at Pokemon, because you're not. You can't come off as that. So like, what's your vein? And I remember him saying, he's like, dude, I'm just discovering, and I says, that's the channel of you discovering and finding and collecting and starting fresh. People love to see it. It doesn't matter if they're old or just getting started in it, they're going to do it. But where Pat has always been a master is he's a master storyteller, and he's gave some of the best talks I've ever seen in person.
To be fair, Dan also did a great job. Like Dan's presentation at VidSummit last year was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, no,
loved Dan's presentation last year.
Dan's a byproduct of VidSummit. Like, if there's ever a byproduct of why you should come to VidSummit, it's the story of Dan Norton. Like, seriously. Dan came in as a volunteer. Okay. He was my PA to a 5-day live stream. And he was my cameraman for five days. Like he was kind of my go-to guy. Right. And I literally had to, like, there's certain times I needed to have private conversations. So guess who took the camera? Dan did. And so anyway, after that, like, he and I were in the car, and I was like, dude, where are you at with life? What do you want to do? And so I'm all trying to help him because he helped me in so many different ways. And it led to a series of things of where he was, the producer of Deep Pocket Monster. And what's really cool, I want to show you this. Can I share my screen? Is that
yeah, cool? Absolutely.
Let me share my screen.
Yeah, you should have permission to do that. But while he's doing that, while he's getting that pulled up, I do want to let you know, if you are just joining the stream right now, we are talking to YouTube expert Derral Eves. He is the founder of VidSummit, which is a conference for YouTube content creators that we go to every year. This year, it's happening September 29th through October 1st in Dallas, Texas. There's information about that in the video description, or you can go to vidsummit.com for that. He is also the author of YouTube Formula, which is a book right here. And there's another version of this, and I'm going to ask you about this here in just a minute. But YouTube Formula, the promise on this is how anyone can unlock the algorithm and drive views, build an audience, and grow revenue. And this is a bestseller, by the way. And in addition to that, he is the founder of Channel Jumpstart, which is also a program for YouTubers that helps you navigate all of this stuff and essentially blow up your YouTube channel. So let's see here. We're going to get this pulled up on the stage here. So yeah, so just as a quick thing, like, you want to make sure that you're listening to this because, anytime Derral comes on, just like he's already doing through this conversation, he just shares tons and tons of value for the YouTube creator community. So so you definitely want to stay tuned in on this one.
Dan is legit. Talking about Dan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's great.
My first VidSummit, I believe, it was the first or second, I believe. That's when Dan carried that live stream.
Yes.
And that I spent a lot of time during the entire event with Dan, with the live stream. And that was such a fun experience. Yeah. Like, anytime I think of Dan, it's just good stuff.
He's great.
Yeah, man, he's such a great dude. Yeah.
Yeah, his presentation last year was absolutely fantastic.
I absolutely love that he moved into what he's moved into.
Yeah, and he's really good at it.
So
too.
good at it.
He's great.
Yeah.
So the full circle moment is this. And so this is the book cover that I just approved. This comes out in September. But look at the praises for YouTube Formula right here. Whether you're a channel ready or just thinking about starting on, the YouTube Formula 2.0 is the guide that will not only help your videos get views, but views from the right audience who return again and again. We've both spent years creating videos and becoming better storytellers, but it's Derral's strategies that guided us when we launched Deep Pocket Monster, hitting 10,000 subscribers in the first 5 weeks, and the channel has over 2.3 million. And we still return to the strategies for this book. But it's like, I love to see this, of knowing where Dan's at, and now he's like literally immortalized
on your book.
On my book. But and then too, the story's in the book too, because like one of the main reasons why you can put the thing down, but one of the main reasons why I rewrote the book was I wanted to do AI, and I needed to do a better job on shorts, because shorts was coming out when it first came in. And then I'm like, do you know what? I'm going to just rewrite all the case studies. I just want people that read the book and applied it. Those are my case studies instead of my clients and people that I worked with out of the gate. And so it's like every single one of them is people that read the book and was able to succeed and go from there. But then you get their stories, their perspectives of how they understood and applied the principles that I teach in the YouTube formula. And I can tell you right now, Dan is a master storyteller, and so is Pat, and they are good. Like they're probably some of my best students I've ever had. Like when I say, hey, they don't just accept it. They ask other questions to clarify, and then they go and do. And I've just seen massive growth with that. And it's been fun to watch because they just opened up a new production facility in San Diego. And
nice.
It's like top freaking I don't know if I was supposed to say anything about that. Scratch that. I don't know if I'm
pretend that didn't just happen. Yeah.
Anyway, yes. I feel bad. But yeah.
You heard it here first, folks, on Mimic Line.
But it's so good. But yeah, it's so fun to watch what you can do in these communities, and so I think that goes back down to a couple key principles. If you're watching this live stream as a live stream or recording, you're in the right place, right? Now the difference would be is if you're just consuming content and you're not applying it, you're never gonna do anything. I've just seen it. I've seen people that love information, they love to be around the community, but they don't want to apply it. Yeah. The best way to apply it is ask a question: how does this apply to me, and what can I learn from it? Or how can I implement it quickly? And that's when you start to see the rubber meets the road. My favorite text to get, or DMs to get, or emails to get is when someone says, I finally popped off, or I finally got it, like it's rolling, or my life's transformed because X, Y, or Z. And it's like something that they needed to apply. And then this is a very important thing for everyone in the media space is you have to have patience. You have to be persistent, and you have to be patient in your persistency, because you never know when it's going to take off. You just don't. And when it does, if you've built the right type of content strategy, everything lifts. Like I've just seen channels explode and they come out of nowhere. It's like Jenny Hoyos is like a perfect example. Like she went to VidSummit. She used every dollar in her savings account as a 17-year-old, convinced her mom to go all the way over to Los Angeles to go to YouTube, because she just knew she needed to learn. And so she went to VidSummit, went into the audience, and then here she was in a place to learn. And she was like getting relationships with editors that could help her, and thumbnail people, and started to create this community. Met some other bigger YouTubers, got some really good strategies from them, and then she won, because she was in the audience, mentorship by me, and then she came in, and this is what I love is that was VidSummit. I think it was 2020, or is it 20? So somewhere around there. I know we had one COVID year. The other one, we still had COVID year. We had to take it. I don't know if it's 2021. It's probably 2021.
Yeah, I think it was 2021. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, she's like at 11 million subscribers right now. Like that's crazy. But then too, her mom is now well over 1 million subscribers, on her own channel. So it's like, there's a ripple effect that happens when you come into the right type of atmosphere. And I wanted to create VidSummit as that right type of atmosphere where people were more about giving and helping than they were about taking. And so, it's been great to have Jenny come in and not only do a testimony for the book, great case study for the book, but she's been back to VidSummit over and over again as a speaker, and was able to contribute and give that knowledge that she's learned and how she's been able to do it in her own little way. When I say little, it's not, I didn't mean that in a small thing. Like I meant it in, she's a little girl.
In her own major way. Yeah.
Young lady.
So one of the things that you mentioned, Derral, earlier was about, figuring out your audience. You said, once they figure out their audience. What are your recommendations for somebody right now that, they have their YouTube channel, they're publishing videos, and, they have their niche and, they've got that part covered, but they're trying to dial in the specifics of who am I making content for? What type of recommendations do you have or advice do you have for people in that position right now?
Yeah, I would say don't fall into the trap of saying, well, I'm just making it for me. And I think if you are making it for you, then only expect one view. Don't expect more views. Just expect one view and you're good. Now, if it's people similar to you, then you need to start looking at traits, at the type of traits that you're looking for, right? And so you might have other interests outside of what you're currently featuring, and there might be other things that you enjoy and other YouTubers that you like to watch. Look for those specific patterns too. But generally, what I teach in the YouTube formula and also in Channel Jumpstart is to do recon and research. Like, you got to go out and you got to try to find the type of content that you would create. Now, you don't necessarily need to get the content like spot on where it's exactly what you want to create, because you'll never find that, because you'll bring something uniquely you into it. But you'll find kind of like formats and personalities that's doing it. And then I like to go through the comments and really understand the value that they received in the video, and then really start to understand who the person is. And so I really don't care about demographics. I care more about psychographics. However, demographics gives us a way to communicate to the psychographics. Like, if I know I'm talking to Gen A, I would speak completely differently than I would talk to Gen Z. It is. And you might think, well, no, it's just close generation. Well, no. They have their own culture, their own language, their own way of edit. And I would definitely talk to boomers differently than Gen A or Gen Z, right? And so when I mention that, it's like, hey, that's the type of format too. I can't tell you how many people copy a Mr. Beast type of edit for a boomer audience, and I'm like, dude, you're going to give them PTSD in that edit. You just are. You need to understand, how they're used to doing it. You have a lot more grace on the edit. They'll sit and go through. In fact, I had a big YouTuber here, and we were going through the edit. He had an hour and 21-minute video that he put out there. He had like 72% retention on it. And he's like, no, just like my best video. I'm like, no, you found the right format for the right audience. The only difference would be the people that watched that whole length was the 65 plus crowd. We got to look at it through the lens of their age group, just so that you understand, is this the best format for your channel, or is it just for the specific group? And so for me, it's defining that and really all you're doing is making assumptions, and then what you're trying to do is validate. And the best way to validate is with data. So that's why I love data, is it helps validate the assumptions that I have in whatever I'm doing. And so please, for the love of everything that's holy, don't take the data in YouTube as exactly what it is when it comes to demographics. Because you're like, hey, they're 35 to 45 plus, whatever, and that's my audience. And they're like, no, maybe they're on their mom's account and watching your videos, and they're under the age of X, Y, or Z, right? And so you gotta use some reasoning in it, because YouTube doesn't have a camera seeing exactly who's watching it. And then second thing, and this is a really, really important thing, there's a lot of co-viewing going on. You don't know how big the crowd is that's watching it. And you might have like 2.3 people on average be watching something together with someone. Like I know in my house, there's certain videos that we watch together, and there's certain videos we don't, and the ones that we watch together, it could be, it depends on who's here, but it's like, it could be, multiple people watching a show that we love, and so it's like, you have to kind of define that. And I know that's a really long answer, Nick, but it's like,
no, that's exactly what I'm looking for.
You have to like create this persona. And this persona is all it is an assumption until you can validate it. And the only way to validate it is when you're meeting people in person and you're like, yep, they're my avatar. Yep, that's who they are. Yep, they have it going, and so that helps you understand the type of people. And then two, please, there's a lot of content creators that do it for their own creativity. Says I only make stuff for myself or whatever, and that's fine. That's great. But just remember, if you don't give someone else value, you might find it value, but somebody else might not. And you're not at least taking yourself out of, hey, I know this is for me, but if someone was watching this, how am I supposed to engage them along the way? Then you're a little bit more intentional than just uploading. And that's where I'm at. It's like, I know a lot of people are like, this is the most amazing creation. And I'm like, well, and this is, I hear this so much and it just bothers me, but it's like, man, but you're not even getting to the best part. I go, you lost me. I can't get to the best part because you lost me already. And like, well, whatever, and I'm like, yeah, like there's so many best parts that never see the light of day, just because.
I think a lot of that is bias too, right? Because, of course we're going to create, especially if we're editing our videos ourselves and, we're writing the scripts ourselves and, we're putting everything together ourselves, we're doing it based on our tastes on what it is that we think might be good or what we think is the best part. But, that's not always the best part. That's not always, it doesn't always align when it comes to, the people that are watching, the videos.
Could I do a comment? Could you put up that comment from the artist Haven?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this is a great question. And this is something that I can do. Look, some of the best YouTubers of all time is they're artists, they're creatives, they're whatever, and they're not analysts. What I teach my students and what I teach people reading the YouTube formula is there's too many things to look at in analytics, and there's certain things that you should avoid. Okay, the number one, not even a close second thing to avoid for someone like you is the 1 out of 10. Like there's not a world that I would ever look at that because it's a micro
misleading.
It's a micro adjustment, and it will cause you more mental displeasure to know, oh man, it's a 10 out of 10. It's a stupid video, whatever. And then magically it appears a 1 out of 10. It's just like, don't go into that. The second thing would be it's simple. Okay. Is where the traffic's coming from. That's your traffic sources. Okay. So that, and all you understand is like YouTube's recommending it. The traffic's coming from somewhere. Where is it coming from? It's okay. And then what device? Okay. Is it a TV, computer, TV? What is it? So you understand how they're watching, because like someone that's watching, on their phone is completely different than them watching on TV. And if they're watching on computer, there's a higher chance that they're in a situation that maybe they're learning or they're doing multiple things or whatever. They're using it as a resource tool, versus a tablet. They could be a kid or whatever. So like I like to think of what device type that it is, and then look at, are they clicking on it or not? That's that click-through rate. And are they retaining on it or not? And that's your retention. Outside of that, it would be where are they dropping off in your video? That's it. You do those things right there. It's just like, if you can improve your baseline of getting them to click and your retention going up, and then more importantly, hey, I noticed there's a pattern of them dropping off. YouTube's giving you that. You don't need to go any more in depth than that. Just analyze that portion that says, I might have said something there. Oh, I said an exit word. Says, oh, we're about ready to wrap up the video. Okay, I just dropped off. Well, let's not say those words. And let's just go ahead and validate that assumption, because all they are is assumptions. All you are is assumptions. But if you can replicate success and know that you can edit out in the future potential landmines that will deviate that retention, then you can go from there. But for me, I always like to say artists should look at data, but they need to look at it at a different level. And I think all the people go in there, hey, I'm looking at views and I'm looking at comments and I'm looking at 1 out of 10. And I base my whole YouTube career on that. No, don't do that. I gave you that format of what I would do.
And one of the things that you mentioned, Derral, is you briefly mentioned about signaling the end of the video and using language that causes people to leave. What other things, just from your vast experience across genres and time, because you've been doing this since since YouTube started, so what other mistakes do you see people making in videos that people should be mindful of when they're putting their content together?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest mistake is if your packaging, which is your title thumbnail, is one thing, and you got me to click, and when I get there, I don't get that. I feel like I was robbed. And I would say, some people are like, oh, I do get to it, but it's at minute marker 8. No, you deceived me. And there's something that you need to do to help me on the journey to get to minute marker 8. And so that's kind of, I would say, the biggest breakdown. And or when someone gets derailed, where they go on a side quest or there's a side something and it overpowers the main storyline or the main value prop. And then I'm like, wait, where's this going? They're not the consistent thing. And then I would say those are the two biggest that I found, is like being true to it. And then the other one that's probably just as big, which would be everybody feels like they need to explain everything about them just so they validate who they are, just so that people will watch. And I'm like, no one really cares. They don't care who you are. They're clicking on it. They're curious. And if you give your whole life's, background and history, and it takes 1.2, minutes, you're going to lose me every freaking time. Or you're doing this branded intro. Like I don't like it. It's just like get to what the promise is. And so they might take a little bit too much time on it. And then, I would say the last thing is they're not hypersensitive in the edit. And so that's like, if there's ever a tool set for creators that think creator first, is YouTube. Like, YouTube has given us everything that we've asked for and then some to help us be better creators. Some of the stuff they're doing right now, man, I'm like, man, it would have been nice years ago to have that, because it's like they're helping you create content faster and more knowledgeable, and you're able to see exactly the type of content that people are engaging with, and it's giving you ideas. Like the inspiration tab, it's evolved, it's become a powerful asset for you. How many people actually use that? And then two, you don't just use it this YouTube told me to do it, so I'm doing it and it flopped. No, you need to literally ask questions and say, is this great for my audience? I can see that, but how do I make it mine? How do I really pull it into what I'm trying to do?
And with that, because you mentioned also about the getting to 8 minutes before they get the payoff of the video. So when people are starting their YouTube videos, what are your, from everything that what should people be doing at the very beginning of their videos to stop the drop as fast as humanly possible?
So
because one of the things that I found just over time and recently also is that when it comes to that very beginning of the video, that first 30 seconds, minute, like that's where everybody loses the video. So when it comes to that part of the video, what are your recommendations for trying to stop that drop as fast as possible?
Yeah. Let me I'm going to give you a longer answer just because it will help contextually people better than me just giving you a quick answer on this.
Okay.
When I take on a project, I get hyper obsessed, and I'm trying to understand the audience. And I'll give you an example. So I partnered up with a channel called Matt's Off-Road Recovery. He was a tow truck company that was just putting his tow adventures on YouTube. And when we partnered up, he had a couple videos that had tens of thousands of views. I immediately saw the magic in what it could be. And we had to get away from being a tow truck company, where we would need to become an entertainment company who happens to own a tow truck company. And so we needed to get into that in that phase. So I started to just get involved in the community. Like I live in Southern Utah. We live in the same place, so I understood contextually a lot of the stuff, but I didn't understand the community in the off-road community. These are the people that are driving their Jeeps on, the desert, crawling and doing all that stuff. That's not me. It's not who my my interests are as much. And so, I needed to understand what makes them tick. And they have events that they go to, and there's desires for it. And so what I normally do is think of someone in my own life who fits that. And believe it or not, I went on a mission trip when I was 18 years old. And I was down in South America in Paraguay. And one of my companions, they assign you with another missionary out there. He fit the bill. Like on his weekends, he'd go off-roading, and that's who it was. So I'm all thinking about him as I'm doing the research. I'm like, okay, I understand him. I understand he's in real estate, and then anytime that he can get away, he gets away. He finds an excuse to get away. And I'm starting to just try to understand who he is a little bit and what's important for him, right? And when it comes to this, like what is he looking for? And it's not about the destination, it's about the journey with him. It's like going and having that experience, and so it's like I want to go with my family, I want to go with my friends. We want to have a fun time. We love to go fast, but we love to take time and joke and have the slow down moments. And so as I'm thinking about him, I'm going through all the comments, and I'm like, okay, what would be YouTube channels that he would be watching in relation to this, right? And I don't want to just use the channel that I'm starting or doing or working with, right? I need to do all the other channels out there. Like, what would they find fascinating? So I'm all doing this research. I'm making an assumption, and then I pick up the phone and I call him and says, hey, yo, you got a minute? He said, yep. And so we start talking YouTube. I'm like, hey, what YouTube channels you watch? Every single one of those channels was on my list. Every single one.
Oh, nice. Nice.
And then two, I wanted to validate, hey, is this why you do it? He says, absolutely. Like and he comes down to where I live. He lives 4 hours away, but he comes down because it's like, this is like heaven down here for off-roading. And he goes, if I could just do it, he actually wanted to store some stuff at my house. I'm like, no, dude, there's a thing called and I showed him, I says, there's a place that you can get a garage for your side-by-sides and stuff like that. I'm not going to have it in my yard. But it's like when you really start breaking down that mentality, and then I'm like, hey, what gets you excited about this? Then I'm seeing some indicators. And then what I did, most people would just go back and do. And then I'm like, no. I need to now know how I can validate that with others, because that's only one example of what I thought it was based on my assumptions. Now I need to go deeper into it. And I wanted to look at the type of content that they would engage with. And that's when I was looking for, give me the biggest viewed videos, not from the biggest channels, but the biggest viewed videos in the space. And what was the value prop? Like, how did they bring people in? What was that curiosity factor? What did they find valuable in it? And then I like to highlight those and really dig deep into it. And then once I feel comfortable with the audience, I'm ready for an edit. And so this is where the story is different. So at the time, he was basically doing, hey, this is how you get unstuck. That was literally the channel. I'm like, no, that's not what it is. And so I says, I want a full edit. I go, you got to trust me. We're partners on this. And the first edit, I said, look, this is not going to be your normal one. And when he got it back, he goes, I really don't like it. And I says, Matt, I love you. And it's awesome. We're partners, but you got to trust. And you need to understand, I've done my due diligence, and there's a reason. He goes, yep, I just don't like it. I don't think it's going to fly. And I says, that's fine. He goes, but I trust you. You know your stuff. And what it was a 34-minute video. He was doing 8-minute videos, and it was 34 minutes. And he goes, people just want to see. He thought the value was in an area where the value was not. I thought the complete opposite. I thought 80% of the value is something that they cut out, and I wanted them to keep in. And it was that 20% that tied them in, right? And so I did that. And so the beginning of the video, he actually had a hook that he would use normally, which is, hey, I got a call, I'm going to go help someone. And then you have a montage getting there, and then they get right into recovering. And mine was, I got a call, we got to assemble a team. And then we did a highlight of what people were going to see in the video. So it literally tied in the title thumbnail in a way where they're able to engage with it. And in that journey, we had to stop, and you had to fill up, and you had to go into the gas station, and you got to get your snacks, because this is gonna be a long one, because you don't know if you're gonna be hungry or not, and you don't want to starve, because no one wants to be hangry as they're recovering someone, right? And then they're getting
So
out.
you're adding stakes to this as you're going. Yeah, nice,
Exactly.
nice.
Okay.
And all of this is happening in how much of the video. So basically, it's starting, and then you are.
This is the beautiful thing, right? It's like this was already happening in real life, and it just wasn't being captured. And when I says you're going to do it, I want you to capture everything, because I want to edit just kind of what I see from it. And so they were getting it, and Matt was going in, and he literally got nachos because he liked nachos, and I'm like, okay, that's great. And he was talking about it, and then his son Rudy went and got chicken in a biscuit, because he likes chicken in the biscuit, box, whatever. And you would not imagine how many comments were like, dude, I love chicken in the biscuit. Oh, nacho moment, whatever. It was awesome. But the point that I'm getting at is this. Okay, it was very intentional of me understanding who the viewer is, and it's about a group of. It wasn't about the technique of the recovery. It was about a group of friends helping someone in need, and they needed to stop and gas up, because these vehicles suck through gas like no other. And then two, you got to go in and hydrate and get some snacks, because you need snacks, right? And then two, it was about more the journey too, and then the assessment, right? So we went through the format, and I can tell you this, it was the fastest video that he ever had at the time, growing. In fact, it was like it went to a million views like overnight.
Oh, nice.
And it was retention on those million views, which is really, really hard to do, guys. Like, the more views you get, your retention goes down. I know some of you freak out when it's like, man, my retention sucks. I'm like, no, dude, that was like a 10 million viewed video. That does not suck. Like, that's actually really good. YouTube found a bigger audience that didn't retain as high. But if you look at just the vein of those there, they're just finding new audiences for it. And they're, that's great. That's great retention. But the retention that I had on that one was 92.6% retention on a million viewed video, which is the highest I've ever had, ever in my life on it. Because we found the right audience, and they found the love for it. But then what we do is we found the format. And so for us, we're always iterating. We're doing longer recoveries. I think our recovery, some of our recoveries right now is like an hour and a half or something, an hour, 10 minutes. But we're keeping similar formats. We're just extending it out and doing bigger type recoveries, out of state or whatever. The point that I'm getting at is not every hook's the same. You need to understand the psychographics of your viewer to know what they're going to respond to. If you make me a YouTube hook for Mr. Beast for someone that doesn't like that, then they're going to bounce. They're literally going to say, no, not for me. I'm out. Like, oh, wait, this is not what I expected. I'm out. That's what they're saying. So you need to anticipate what's needed there, right? And I want you to understand that not every hook's the same, because not everyone's the same. And the thing that you need to do is, you had a promise, which is the title thumbnail. How are you going to deliver that within the first 15 seconds? Because if you're not delivering that in the first 15 seconds and fulfilling on that promise within that first minute, like you're at least on the journey too, then you've literally have lost all retention on it. Like I'm like, okay, they're taking too much time to getting into it. Believe it or not, the most important time, I would say, is the first 10 seconds, the first minute, and the first 3 minutes of the video. Like, I would say that's the most important time, because if I can get you hooked into 3 minutes, guaranteed you're staying for 6. Okay, guaranteed. I have your interest, and if I can engage you where you're like, oh my gosh, that was good, you're sticking around to it. And at that 6 minute mark, if I re-engage you again, then you're like, oh my gosh, this is good. I might have you for the whole video. And I don't care if it's 30 minutes to an hour. It's just like, can you really pull it in? where I'm going deeper and deeper into the story where I can't wait. There's a YouTuber that I really, really love. I would say his video content is some of the best I've ever seen. His name's Michael Reeves. I don't know if you've watched his YouTube channel or not.
I haven't.
He puts out one video a year. That's it. Now he does other things, and he's very successful and does a lot. And my whole thing is when he does it, I cannot. Every time that I think something's going to happen, it doesn't. And then when something it leads in, he's just a very good storyteller in his edit and his builds and all that other stuff. But what I love is by the time I get done with a video, Nick, I cannot watch two. There's not a world that I can watch two in a row on him. There's so much dopamine and energy and laughter. I'm like, I had enough. Like you can only watch one.
You can only watch once a year.
Well, no, I could watch one. I could watch one a week, but I couldn't watch two back to back. There's just no way I could do that. It's just too much. What was Renee's? I didn't see that. What was his comment?
Yeah, he mentioned here, he said that everyone focuses on an algorithm instead of audience psychology when all the algorithm cares about is audience psychology. In terms of, what people think about, what people care about, what causes them to respond to things.
Yeah, from the mouth of the YouTube liaison, like literally, like
liaison is what we call it. Liaison. Yeah.
But like seriously, it is about the audience, and so and that's why I wanted to give you that longer story, is because I think if I give you tactics, people are like, oh, I need fast beat. I need to be like Brian Trahan. I need to be like Mr. Beast. Or I need to do like Michelle Khare. No. You need to understand your audience and what they respond to. And then how do you take them from a curiosity click to, oh my gosh, this is the video that I didn't know I needed, or, oh my gosh, this is so good. I can't wait to see what he does next. And that's what I try to do is get them to engage in the content, in the format that we know that they're watching. So I'll give you an example. This gold play button. Well, okay. It's a silver play button, not a gold play button. This is my latest right here, and I will open it up. This will go somewhere. But this is an animation show that I started. It's called The Chosen Adventures. Right there. See that?
Nice.
Still in the packaging. But it's called The Chosen Adventures. We've done, we're actually doing a live stream today. And it's like we have our last episode that's coming up for the season that we have. We put it on Amazon first because they paid us a whole bunch of money. But I'm like, we got to do it. We had to grow an audience on YouTube, which I think we have like 160,000 subscribers or 140,000 subscribers, somewhere like that. Oh, nice. But it's like, and we're just barely getting going. And so anyway, the point that I'm getting at is if you're watching that, it's meant for TV. And I will use the show feature on YouTube. There's like, it's meant for TV. Like it is. When you watch the video, it is TV style. Like we didn't re-edit it for YouTube because we want co-viewing, and we want it like one of my favorite animations. Like I love anime, but I also love like Gravity Falls. And it's like we wanted something like that in that world that we could build out. And so there's a certain format that works for animation, and we wanted to follow that, and we wanted to take a little bit of time. If you look at Amazing Digital Circus, they follow a similar format too, where it's a format of comment, or sorry, a format for that type of content, right? So like there's certain types of content that you want to keep a format. And now where YouTube is so gracious with so many different screens, especially the big screen, which is TV, there's different things that work. So how we would hook them isn't necessarily with the first 10 seconds. Like we want them to be positioned where they're leaning back, on the couch with their family, watching the show together. It was a family co-viewing experience, right? And if we can do that, the retention is going to be through the roof. It is, because they're sitting back, they're not skipping it, right? And then two, now that YouTube has the show feature and your series feature, it's like it can be that moment that they can binge watch. So we just actually did a binge watching session with our. If you guys ever want to see a strategy of how to grow, just go look at the Chosen Adventures right now, which is we did a compilation that's leading up to our final episode of the season, right? And we're making another co-viewing experience today that leads to the episode tomorrow, which is a live stream that we're rewatching. We're doing a watch party today, and so that right there is we're trying to create a community, but also inform people that heard about it, haven't watched, to encourage them to go watch it again before that final episode, right? And now this is where I just need everyone. I wish everyone would do this, which is this: don't take bad advice. And generally, bad advice is coming from people that says, if you want to succeed, this is what I did. This is what you need to do. What you need to do is realize, no, there's a viewer out there. And how would they find my content viewable, right? First, how do you find it clickable? Well, curiosity will get the click every single time. If they're like, oh, I'm wondering about that, human curiosity will trigger that. But then when they get to the video, how do we pull them into a story very quickly? I can honestly say some of the best storytellers, Deep Pocket Monster, I love. Those guys are great storytellers. Ryan Trahan, amazing storyteller. But there's other great storytellers out there that you can find. What I want you to do is look at how they're engaging with their audience and pulling people in. Don't copy them, because it's not you. Like, there's a YouTuber that copies Ryan Trahan, and it's very apparent that even down to the edit, he's down to the jokes and whatever, and it's not even him. And I'm like, yeah, I know you're getting audience, you're getting views, but it's not authentically you. And so I'm disconnected from it. I don't care how many views you got. And so for me, it was like, once you understand who your viewer is, and you're being yourself, and you're bringing them through that story with you, regardless if it's education, there's still a story behind the education portion of it. And you're not deviating from that storyline. All you're doing is enhancing the storyline until you get to the payoff. What is the payoff? Which is the climax of the video. It should be the pinnacle moment, that point that really people goes, oh my gosh, this is so good. And I want to tell you the indicator I look for. When I come up with the pinnacle moment, I says, what's the moment that people go, oh my gosh, I got to share this with X, Y, or Z? Because then they're sharing it with people that would be like-minded to do it. So I can guarantee you, like, if I see a Star Wars meme on TikTok or X or whatever, guaranteed I can go through my phone right here, right now, and I have one child that will get 99.9% of the ones that connect with me, because she actually understands my jokes more than any other of my other kids. Okay. Now there's some that go to the family chat, but she generally is the first one I'm doing when it comes to certain things, because we just have the same humor, and that doesn't mean that my boys, that I don't love them as much as my girl. Well, maybe that's true. I actually love my girl more than the boys. But the difference.
Dang.
Yeah. That's kind of like my mom loving D more than she loves me. Yeah.
It's true, though.
Throw the gauntlet down there.
More than you. He got stranded in Mexico. But anyway, the point that I'm getting at is this. It's like she's my first thought of when I want to send a meme, because I know that she gets it. Well, guess what? She's the audience. And you know what's funny? She goes, I was just about to send that to you. So we're watching the same type of stuff. Well, imagine this. If that's happening because of something you sent, YouTube's getting exactly what it wants, which is the right viewer for that video. And it already found that pattern. Well, that's a new form of discovery, which is the oldest form of discovery, which is shareability. It's like word of mouth, right? Hey, you got to go check this out. Okay, boom. Guess what? It brings it in. YouTube says, oh, we see that these patterns of viewing is the same or similar, or it has kind of that similar psychology. Let's go find more people like it. That's how you grow. That's how you literally grow. So I always ask, okay, is this moment shareable? If not, how can we make it shareable? And I don't mean shareable for virality reasons, but shareable where someone found enough value. They're like, oh, have you checked out this video?
Where they connected to it.
Exactly.
Yeah, where it was meaningful to them in some way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hey, really quick, if you are just joining us, we are talking to YouTube expert Derral Eves. Derral Eves is the founder of VidSummit. VidSummit is a conference that is happening in September, from September 29th to October 1st. I'm going to pull it up on screen here just so you can kind of see what's going on. But basically, with VidSummit, it's a conference that we go to every year that is for content creators. It's where everybody goes together to share what it is that they know about YouTube, and to share ideas and strategies and insights from successes that people have had. And for people that are trying to figure things out, you have full access to people that have been doing this stuff for a while, or they're new to it, but they're really good at it and they have a lot to share. So when it comes to conferences, like, and no shade to any other, conference that's out there, but when it comes to conferences, a lot of them are put together by, big companies and things like that. But this conference, VidSummit, is put together for content creators by content creators. And for the value that you get out of this, for anybody that's interested in going to this, it comes from the stages. It comes from the hallways. It comes from the conversations that you have when you're sitting in the hotel lobby. It comes from every direction for the entirety of the event during VidSummit. So if this is something that you are interested in going to, you can find out more information about this at vidsummit.com. And again, that's September 29th to October 1st in Dallas, Texas. So make sure that you do check out vidsummit.com. He's also the author of YouTube, the YouTube formula. And I'm setting all this stuff up for you just so you know the level of information that you're getting here and the experience that we're tapping into today. But he's also the author of the YouTube formula, which is also a bestseller. And he has a program called Channel Jumpstart where he helps content creators learn how to thrive on YouTube as well. So just for some context there, he's sharing all kinds of information about keeping people watching, capturing people's attention, building your audience and those sorts of things. And we're going to continue having that conversation.
So Just Ask Pam asked how many people are usually there. We generally have we cap it off at 3,500 is where we kind of cap it off. We don't want it so big that's happening. But this year, I think there's probably 4,000 is what we're going to cap it off at. We found a good balance. And we're doing a couple things that we've learned from the 13 years of doing it that we're really excited for. I don't want to spoil it, but there's going to be an integration from YouTube, hopefully.
Oh, nice.
and
nice.
It's going to be epic, guys. Like it literally. It's like if there's ever anything to do for a VidSummit audience that would be so on brand, is what's going to happen there. So really excited about that too. And we for those that are in the AI space, OpenAI is going to be there. They just signed, and we got a lot of AI partners that will be there. A lot of platforms, like TikTok and Twitch. There's just a lot of opportunity. The biggest opportunity though is what happened a couple years ago, Nick, which was, we did the stage presentation. Do you remember with Amazing Digital Circus? You remember that one? They did they had the amazing case study that I loved, and it was just economically really amazing of how they got a community engaged with a new IP. And they
yeah.
Well, anyway, we were doing some theater stuff, movie theater stuff for The Chosen, and in fact, we actually have our feature film that's coming out this next year called The Chosen Crucifixion, and then we have another feature film, The Chosen Resurrection. That's why we've been taking our TV show into movie theaters. And it wasn't just to get the number one at the box office or anything like that, but it was just like to help the audience know where we're going for these moments. And so we were having a conversation with Glitch Productions, who does Amazing Digital Circus, and I told them about, hey, they should be in theaters. They should definitely do it. Like at least their final episode, have it be an in-person community moment where community members are rubbing shoulders with something that they love. They did $52 million in the box office.
Wow.
With their final episode, and then too, we had a couple other creators there that had big hits, at the movies as of late. And so we have Fox, we got Amazon, we got Paramount, we have Netflix coming, and all they're doing is looking for talent to take over and give money to do these projects like that. So.
Yeah, I think also, when it comes to, VidSummit, I think for me, one of the awesome advantages about it also is just making other creator friends. Because, as a content creator, a lot of us are, until D came along and he started getting involved with, with the YouTube side of my life, and started, making content on his own and all that. Until that happened, I was in my own world in terms of, the people that I could talk to about YouTube, in terms of being in person, I was talking to people online, things like that. But when you are hanging out with other content creators that are doing the thing that you're doing and they relate to, all the frustrations about, putting all that effort into, that video that you spent, a week working on or 2 weeks working on to publish it and not get, many views on it. And, like those types of things that we deal with as content creators, it's just awesome having, other people that you can, share this experience with that actually get it and you can have conversations with, because, a lot of people and Jana from Playing the Mom Game, she mentioned this earlier in the chat. But, one of the cool things is just being able to talk to other people, a lot of other people that relate to all of those things that you think about and that you care about as a content creator. So for me, I think that's one of the awesome side effects of VidSummit is that side of things, of being able to but just meet other creators that you can stay in contact with and that you can, maintain friendships with. And when weird stuff happens on YouTube, like when they have, view outages and stuff like that, to where you have somebody to where you can shoot them a message real quick. Hey, I have a flat line from this date to this date. Are you seeing the same thing? Right? Just having that type of, access to other people is also extremely valuable. And VidSummit is a great place to also create those types of relationships as well, because a lot of people, that I've spoken to that have gone to VidSummit, a lot of people, when they go to things like this, they expect to get there, and people say things like, like, hey, we're not even going to talk until, we figure out how many subscribers you have and how important you are, and, like that kind of stuff. But when it comes to VidSummit, it's wild, and it's kind of, amazing in a way to where that conversation doesn't really take place. It's basically you're a creator, I'm a creator. Nobody cares about, the size. People just care about, hey, what have you learned? What have you learned? And how can we, share what we've learned together? And I think that's a really powerful side of VidSummit.
Last year was the first year I didn't make VidSummit because I was in a hospital bed. Yep. It was kind of touch and go for a little bit, but
yeah, missed you there.
I would say for me, that was the hardest thing about VidSummit. Like I have very capable team members that would put it on, and luckily my president of my company was able to do my keynote. Well, he did a keynote. He didn't do my keynote, but it's just like did a great job. And it was tough watching VidSummit from a virtual pass, because the thing that I love the most is interacting with everybody, right? It's like having those conversations. And so, yeah, I got the replays, what I normally watch and consume. That's the whole reason why I started VidSummit, is to gain knowledge, right? But what was sad was I didn't get the added value, which is 10x or 100x more important and more valuable to me by those conversations around it. Like the best thing that I ever experience is when I go to a session, someone's there presenting, does amazing stuff. We go out and between sessions, having conversations of what we just said, and then you get a completely different version of it in ways that you haven't even thought of. I'm like, man, I never even thought it like that, right? And it was like, let's pick back up on this. Like, because like for me, it's more about not just capitalizing on one moment, but having multiple moments, going into another session, doing that same thing, and then finding time over lunch or dinner, or sometimes even till like 2 a.m, having those conversations like that. That is what I look for. That's what I thrive on. So
yeah, I'm the same exact way. I absolutely love that side of VidSummit. So Derral, when it comes to creating security around your YouTube channel, because that's kind of a hot topic as of late. I mean, not late, but just over the last, let's say year or so, like as AI is getting more powerful and, all of those things, because you have, such a large amount of channels. What is your advice for content creators keeping everything safe, keeping everything locked down, and making sure that, to the best of their abilities, that they're not making themselves vulnerable when it comes to their YouTube accounts?
Yeah. So a lot of this is done through sad experience. So I had to endure pain so that you could not endure pain, right? So the first thing that I would do is create a new Google account. And that Google account is only going to be used for 2 things. Number one would be to be the owner of your YouTube channel, and 2, the owner of your AdSense account. Okay. And what I would do is have very strong 2-factor authentication for that account. And the only time that you go into it would be, to do any admin things, ownership things, which is, I would need to add another, permissions to whatever, or I need to get that clarity of. And that's the only time I'd go into that account. Now, you don't want to leave it dormant for a period of time, because if you're not checking your your Gmail on that account, Google will think you're inactive and they'll cancel it. So you don't want to do that. So you need to go enough. I normally go quarterly, because I'm usually updating my password quarterly, regardless of what it is, even though that it's the only password that I have for it. And then 2, security wise, that's the only accounts that I'll actually put on, a USB drive in the sense of authentication too. It's usually in my safe for that, just because, like, for me, that is money, and people can snake it away fairly easy. Okay, you make that the main owner of the account. Now you can have your other YouTube channel that you have, could be a manager or another owner of it. I don't like to have anyone ownership outside of that one, because I just know no one's going to get it. I don't care if an employee, there's not anything that's going to get it. There'll be a manager. That's why we have permissions. And so that's the reason why. Now, here's the next thing. And this is really, really important. That YouTube account only is for one YouTube channel. You can't have them own multiple channels. Well, you can, but if one gets taken down, YouTube takes both of them down on it, because they don't understand, the relationship of it. They're just seeing you on it. So if one is taken down for any reason whatsoever, they will literally take down everything that's attached to that account. That's why I like to separate it. Now, I actually start different businesses, so they have different entities on it. And so for me, I'm doing it legit. And I want to do everything legit when it comes to YouTube. I want to do everything legit when it comes to Google, because this is the bread and butter. Like, why would you want to do anything to harm your bread and butter, right? And so for me, that's what I really like to do. I would say that type of security, you got to be ultra paranoid, and use it. And then I always keep I use 1Password to keep my passwords in, and I use Google Authenticator too. But it's that USB, like it has to have a physical, connection to authorize it. So that's what I do there. That's the best way to secure it. The second thing would be this, and I was grateful for this news that we got on like community strikes, of where they're going to warn you now before that happening. So congratulations, Renee. That's another amazing thing that you guys are doing. I love that because sometimes it comes out of nowhere and you don't know what happened. And there's just got a community strike or whatever. And you just will. I mean, I get community strikes. I've gotten them before. I'm better now, but it's just like you got to stay up on the terms of service. So I like to really understand anytime that YouTube announces any changes in their terms, I'm going to it. And I want to stay up on that. And then two, I don't want to use other people's content unless I have the license to it. I don't want to use the other people's content. And it's funny. I was like having a conversation with Mark Grober. It was years ago, but he was like using, I was like watching a video, cause that's what you do sometimes for YouTubers and giving them feedback. And I was watching a video. I'm like, dude, like you use this meme and it's not your content. Is it worth risking your ad money for it? And this is what he said. He goes, for the meme. Yeah, it is. It's worth it for the content. I'm like, dude, that's like a lot of money, but he had a brand deal integrated with it too. So the brand deal was paying for us. So like he didn't really care about the ad revenue on it. But I'm like, man, that was hard. Couldn't we recreate something like this? Whatever. Right. But I think, don't use content that's not yours. Now there's a thing called fair use. And a lot of people think, oh, I can use it because there's fair use, but you don't understand fair use laws. Like if you have a doubt that it's not fair use, you probably shouldn't do it. Like that's the way I look at it. And so for me, it's just keep your nose clean on community guidelines, keep your nose clean on content and content ID, get permission to do it. Music is a plague on YouTube. And the reason why I say it's a plague is because you get nailed 10 years later. Like make sure all your licenses are in one place. And that's what I do is when I have a main account, if I have a license, I put it into, I have everything that's organized so that I can go back very quickly and say, oh no, here's our license, whatever. Cause like people change hands and believe it or not, there's strikes that you get, So yeah, we got my first strike last month, 7 years. Look at it.
Yep. 7 years and it came through. I know for me, my first strike that I got, it was on a video. So it was the first, I think, 3 or 4 videos that I uploaded to my channel. I had a video to this channel. I had a video where it started. I mean, it's my fault because it started in a shady way. But basically, when the video first opened up, I come up from the bottom. Like you hear crickets and all that stuff, and it looks like it's dark outside. I come up from the bottom in a ski mask, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to show you how to steal anybody's thumbnail off of YouTube. And this is before you could download it from inside a Creator Studio or YouTube Studio, and then I proceeded to go through the process of showing them how to go in the code and get it and things like that. But I made the disclaimers of not once I got into the video of saying don't do this on other people's thumbnails because you don't have the rights to use it. This is so if you're trying to grab one of your thumbnails to reference it in another video and things like that you can grab it. But that was my first one, and it was devastating. Right, because it's scary because you get it and you just don't know what to do, and because you get the language around it being a strike on the channel, you're just like, oh my gosh. Fortunately, we were able to get it resolved, but the stress that came from that was unfortunate. But yeah, that one I think it took 2 years, maybe possibly 3. I can't remember exactly, but it took a really long time before that popped up.
Could you put Renee's comment up? Because that is the number one, the phishing stuff that they're doing.
Yeah. We actually had we had somebody in Tuber School that actually got that. So they have a travel channel, and they had somebody reach out from a brand capacity. And, they went through the process of clicking on, I think it was a PDF, maybe. I can't remember exactly if it was a PDF or just the link. But yeah, and as soon as they did it, they gained access to their YouTube account. So we had to, walk them through the process of getting everything taken care of.
Here's the best way to solve that, okay? Number one, this should not be coming to your main account. Like, if your email account is your sponsor account, like, you should actually have an email account that's just for any outside correspondence. You're checking that, but the moment that you're in your main account, you're so vulnerable with a lot of stuff that's going on. And then 2, never click on, like, if you get something, never click on you got to validate it first. You got to go back and see and validate it. We have to get into that kind of sequencing of events of what you need to do to do it. Just because, hey, big opportunity for you, click here. Well, I always look at it, go back, reverse it, see, is it true? Go from there. There's not a world that I'm clicking on it. Like I'm not going to do it. Now,
even not just brands. It can also come from people offering editing services, script writing services, things like that. So one of the things that they'll also send is they'll send portfolio links and things like that. You got to be really careful with all of those things.
Yeah, I've known a lot of people that got hacked because they opened up a PDF and of a portfolio or whatever. But I'm always this. Hey, let's just jump on a call. If they don't jump on a call with me, we're not doing it, regardless of what it is. However, team members, see, this is where the vulnerability is. I'm trained. I've had a team member go and click on something. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this whole thing. But it didn't impact me at all. It did impact me because she was down for a period of time. But it's just like, man, it's protocol stuff, So like for me, it's just more, what do they have access to? Limit the access. And then two, anything public facing, and that would be brand facing, put it into a completely different account that's not attached to whatever, so that you can treat it for what it is. And then two, just have your proper protocol of how you'd engage with someone sending you something to look at.
Yeah, and with that too, that public facing email, like one of the things that we recommend to people is set up an email that is so public that you're okay, like saying publicly, hey, just contact me, here at this email. So then that way, that that one's completely removed from everything else. But having that, but
a lot of creators will put their own personal email on the about portion of their channel, and I'm like, nah, dude, there's not a world that I'd ever do that. There's just not a world.
Yep. So Derral, I want to talk to you about YouTube Shorts. So when it comes to YouTube Shorts, because, through, your network of channels and everything, I know that, you have extensive experience when it comes to YouTube Shorts as well. And a big thing that I run into, through just outreach and hear questions that people are asking during Nim and Live is, people wanting to know, if they should be putting shorts on their, channel, if they are focusing on long form content. Sometimes people are feeling like they're missing an opportunity in YouTube Shorts. So because of that, people are wanting to know, hey, should I publish shorts on, on my channel? Should I put that extra time into publishing shorts? Like, what's your perspective on YouTube Shorts? Why creators should use them, why they shouldn't use them in certain cases. Like, what's your thoughts on YouTube Shorts?
Yeah, so I'm always with trepidation when YouTube has a new feature to just kind of let it do its thing before I kind of engage with it. YouTube Shorts, I was on the beta for the US. It started in India, and then it came to the US later. And for me, it was fun. I love short form content. That's what I resonate the most with is sketch comedy, ads. I love that type of comment. So it's a really good format. There was a little bit of awkwardness of how it would be displayed or whatever. And so for me, I was hesitant in the beginning, but now I'm all in. Like, there's not a world that someone should not have a short strategy of some sort. In the new YouTube Formula book, the YouTube Formula 2.0, I talked about audience growth, and I put it into a visual form where we call it the audience growth triangle. And the top of the triangle is reach, discovery. Like, how are you going to be discovered? So for me, I want YouTube to, recommend my content, so if they're recommending my content, that's a very, very awesome thing. And there's certain type of content that's more recommended than others. Now, the type of discovery too could be search engine optimization. I hate to use that word, but it's like optimizing for search. That's another way to do it. So the sense of discovery, there's different ways that people are discovering you. There's not a world that I would not do shorts. Like, shorts is so critical in discovery, and it's done in a different way. The way that the algorithm works now is like people people watch short form content. They even watch it on TV, which blows my mind.
I watch it on TV. I'm one of those people, Derral. So when I'm laying in bed at night, so I have a projector that projects up onto the ceiling so that I can just lay there and I can just fall asleep or whatever. And I'll sit there and I'll go through shorts, because at that, time of night or whatever, I'm trying to tune out. I'm not trying to get engaged in anything. So I'm one of those people that'll sit there and flip through shorts.
That's called dopamine, dude. Why are you doing dopamine before bed?
But it works though. Like I'll sit there and I'll flip through, but
that's what I tell him.
Yeah,
Don't do that.
It's like drinking coffee like 2 minutes before you gotta go to bed. Like
kind of like right now.
Yeah. So I have to put on a podcast. So I do podcasts in my ears. So I'll because if I see anything visually, I'm locked in. So I'm like, okay, give me a podcast that I could care less. So like I fell asleep last night listening to Joe Rogan interview Mr. Beast. And I was okay with that. Like I'm okay with it because like if I fall asleep, I know where I left off. I can pick up in the morning or whatever. But anyway, back to this, like shorts. Shorts is probably, I would say, the fastest way to know how to do your reps, like to put out great content, and one of the best ways to get discovered. So I'm pro shorts right now. Now,
do you have any tips for shorts? So if somebody isn't making shorts on their channel, or they've just dabbled with making shorts, do you have any advice for people that are wanting to move into the shorts side of YouTube?
Yeah, so the Jenny Hoyos example, when she came on, was my student in Channel Jumpstart. It was, long form wasn't working for her as a creator. She just has, when you meet her, she's like a ton of energy. She has a million things that she wants to create, whatever. Like just do short form, whatever. So we were using the same strategy for that. And what's interesting is, there's a cadence. So like you can get your reps in, and in fact, you can discover the type of content that you like making, and it's more feasible in shorts, because shorts is not a choice in a lot of case. It's in the feed. When it's a feed driven choice, there's not a lot of choice. If it's when I go to the homepage, and I'm clicking on, the homepage of a video I'm watching, there's a choice involved in that, or it's suggested, there's a choice in that. When there's not much of a choice outside of how it's been received and, the audience, whatever. So you can experiment with that. And then two, just treat it as, and what I like to do is, get really good at 30 seconds and you got a hook down, right? Get really good at a minute and you have that first minute of the video down. Get really good at 3 minutes. You can do a 3 minute short. Like, why wouldn't you want to do that, right? Like now you've been able to keep people's attention for 3 minutes. That's a great segue of knowing a topic, pulling them in and keeping them on. Keeping someone on a 3 minute short is probably more difficult. Because people are used to that quick dopamine that Nick's trying to go to sleep with. I don't know how he does that, but it's just like seriously, like you get the mechanics down. Now, there is a pretty big leap between doing short form content and doing long form. So Mary Allison did a presentation at VidSummit, I think last year. She's one of my students. She was able to move over from short form to long form. You'll make a ton more money on long form, but right now, a lot of creators are making a ton of money on short. There's a lot of,
especially with affiliate, with YouTube shopping in there. Yeah,
absolutely. And so someone's asking if you follow a template for short. There's not a world.
She's a VidSummit attendee, also, Derral.
There's not a world that I would do a template. What I want you to do is like figure out the format. Now you might say template is format. I'm saying a template is like, oh, here's like a template that you buy or you have, whatever. No, I call it the format or the formula. Like there's certain things that you need into it. And so with shorts, how am I going to grab their attention, in milliseconds, right? So like having text in the video is key. I actually watch a lot of short form content. Sometimes I have to delete the app off my phone because I watch too much of it, and I need to be productive. And like right now, I did delete TikTok off my phone, just to let you know. And then two, I'm less likely to watch short form content just in the nature of it. But so I deleted TikTok off. But the reason why that you got to grab their attention in milliseconds is because they're just in that mode of of swiping and waiting to something that grabs their attention. So what's going to grab their attention? If you have text that grabs their attention, and I like the ones that it's actually in app. So it's either in TikTok or YouTube that you actually put it in there. They're typing it in and putting an emoji or whatever in it. And it sets up the tone.
You're talking about the title card?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Renee, I just found out the shorts timer. I just found out about that. Thank you very much for inventing that. Whoever did that at YouTube, they need a gold star from every parent. But anyway, the thing would be the text. So like, I want to say, is there something I could say in text form that would grab their attention, not too overly lengthy, but it's something that's like, oh, I'll be a little bit more patient to wait for it. And instead of just waiting for it in the content. And then, once that you grab their attention, then it's just like, you got to immediately pull them in, like what's that pull in moment? And so there's all these different types of content that you can create. There's educational, informational, newsworthy type stuff. If there's ever anything that is amazing right now is Clips channel. When people clip different content, either on other platforms or whatever, it could be a podcast and there's clips. That's just one of those discovery mechanisms. So like a lot of the podcasts that I find is through a short. I find, oh, that's an interesting conversation. I'm gonna go find it, and I go look for it. There's no link for it. I just go look for it. That same for other content. So it's like really pull in, bring the value, whether it's news, whether it's information, whether it's entertainment. And then I'll say the other one because it's not entertainment, but it's called brain rot. But yeah, like there's the value prop in all of it, and if you can deliver on it, it can lead to more discoverability. But I can tell you that this is one of the coolest case studies ever in the history of audience development. Is the D'Amelio family was at VidCon, and they were meet and greeting all their fans. Okay, and they're massive on TikTok. And then HopeScope, not even near the following that the D'Amelio has, had a line that was half a mile. It was crazy. By the time that they weeded it all out, D'Amelio, they could go in within 20 minutes and they can see it. But everybody was waiting to see HopeScope. And that's what I'm saying is, yeah, use it for what it is, which is quick engagement. But loyalty and trust will always come through long form video. It just will.
And another thing with shorts also is, it gives you the opportunity to meet people that might not have, even been recommended your long form video as well. Or if it did get recommended just because, it's grouped in with other videos and things like that, if they didn't make the choice to click on it, then, in that case, you might have missed them there. So it just gives you that opportunity because, the people that are watching your videos are also, your long form are also in, I won't say everybody, but, I think it's like 200 billion views Renee shared just on TVs. So, when it comes to that, that's a lot of people. And, your viewers in most cases are interacting in shorts in some way. So it gives you the opportunity to introduce yourself to those people there and add value to them there. And at scale, if people are interacting with, your YouTube shorts, there's going to be a percentage of them. They're going to be like, oh yeah, this is great. And then they're going to explore and, go and, you're going to be able to transfer some of those people over. So it's just a great opportunity to, introduce yourself to people that you might have, missed otherwise.
Yeah. Ace in the Hole Education said, I'm a personal finance channel, very low on the dopamine scale. I would challenge you on that. Some of the personal finance, I would just say your approach might be low on the dopamine scale, but I could give you an example right now that would be dopamine effect. This person just spent $10,000 on Uber Eats. Wait, what? That's that curiosity. And they're only making $40,000 a year. Okay, that leads into an interesting conversation. That's dopamine all over the board on that one, because it's like, wait, what? And it could be controversial. Like, look at like Caleb Hammer's one of our keynotes this year. Like, he's personal finance, straight dopamine. Now he likes to troll people and have those conversations, and that's part of his entertainment. But there's just ways to bring it in. What you need to do is think of how do you make personal finance interesting? And you just need to look at it through the eyes of the viewer and like what's going to grab their attention. saying a statement or doing something, or this person did X, Y, or Z and they became a millionaire. Okay, I'm now interested in that, right?
Another thing, like there's Mark Tilbury as well. Yeah, he's also, he also talks about, financial responsibility and those types of things. And he also does it in a really, fun and creative way where he takes, those ideas, but he makes them, fun and interesting to watch. So yeah, finance is definitely something that you can, that you can use in YouTube Shorts.
Yep.
So in terms of like,
one other thing that works really well. So my son, who's actually speaking at VidSummit, he's gotten a couple gold play buttons. Like he got that one over there, and there's one over the floor on that one that he got.
He's talking about thumbnails, right, at VidSummit?
Yeah. But okay. he like grew up on YouTube, and so like he's been offered so many freaking jobs over his lifetime. It was pretty funny because it was like when I was taking him to a shoot, we're flying on the plane, and I'm like, hey, if you really want to make it in this business, no one's gonna throw money in your lap. You gotta learn. And the best way to learn is observe what's actually happening. And so I was going over to produce a Mr. Beast video, and he was opening a free bank. And here I am producing this video. And he turns to Kelton and says, Kelton, what are you doing? He says, I'm watching your DP and things, on the shoot or whatever. He goes, dude, I just opened a free bank. Why aren't you in line? Literally went in line. And they threw $5,000 in his lap. I'm like, totally dad fell in the history of all dad fells when it comes to like, no one's going to throw money in your lap. And here that happens.
Literally gets money thrown in his lap. That's great.
Anyway, so he grew up on it, and he understands it quite well. And he's been, a channel manager. I think everyone deserves to be a channel manager or a creator in their life, just so they understand deadline. Like, sometimes he's up till 3 a.m. just to get that video out. I think everyone needs to experience that in that whole thing. But he's got a couple gold play buttons here. And then too, he's been doing a lot of coaching with me as well. We were having a conversation, and we had these YouTubers over at my house, like I was saying, and we were just like going through some content, and it was a really, really amazing short. And he's like, Dad, you got to check this out. So we watched it. It was so good. And I'm like, man, that was a really good video. And come to find out, it was a teaser for a bigger video, right? And so for me, that was a discovery moment in shorts that it was sure. And I'm like, man, it would have been so good. It's like, hey, watch the whole video over here, or I made a whole video, and it didn't. It took us a minute or two to find that out, and the video is even better. It was so good, and it was better, and it was like, man, it's a good discovery mechanism. So that's probably, I would say, once you get in the rhythm of shorts, use it to advertise, use it to promote, use it to engage, use it to give. Don't just clip it out of the content. I think that's great that YouTube has given us a tool with the AI to say, hey, here's some great moments that you can clip out. Do that, clip it that way, but be intentional and say, look, if someone's going to find this, what would lead them into a bigger video? That is happening right now. And some of the bigger channels that are aggressively using shorts, they're growing through subscribers, through shorts. They're growing loyalty through long form content.
One question that we have here in the chat is about shorts here is somebody's asking, do shorts no longer cause problems for your long form content? So when it comes to shorts causing problems for, anything on a channel, with the current shorts, not, what's happened in the past, but with current shorts, are there scenarios that you've ran into with, clients, students, everything where, the shorts has caused any type of negative impact on the channel at all?
Not one. The only thing would be, and Renee, if you're listening, if you could take this down, this would be great. But I don't think short form content should ever get a notification to a subscriber. There's not a world unless they only do shorts. And so I tell them to turn off notifications to subscribers when they're doing short form, especially if they're posting a long form video and a short form video. But that really doesn't, because the way that YouTube notifies, it doesn't notify everyone immediately. It notifies them based on their patterns on that as well. But outside of that, I've not seen a way where it hurts a creator. It only helps. Now, give like the discoverability feature. I would say the discoverability feature of when YouTube was recommending it, it was awkward for a period, and there was some tension. But I was the last 3 years, maybe 2.5, probably 3.
Solid.
Hasn't been anything, so it's been solid.
Another thing.
Wait, he's teaching me something right now. It says shorts never get notifications on upload. Thank you very much. I used to get them all the time, though. That's really weird. I'll take a screenshot because I swear I've seen it before.
Another thing that I wanted to ask you, Derral, just because, you know, as content creators, you know, a lot of people that are watching right now, you know, there's some, you know, people that have been on YouTube for quite, you know, some time. But there's also a lot of newer people, a lot of, you know, just smaller channels where, you know, they're doing YouTube on the side and things like that. And, you know, when you go to VidSummit, you get to talk to other content creators that are successful, or, you know, they're taking that ride up, right? So like everything's heading in that direction, or they're in that position, you know, to where they've had, you know, success on YouTube. What type, just for inspiration for people that are watching right now, that, you know, that maybe they're doing it on the side, and in their mind, maybe they're saying that they're doing it as a hobby just so that they have a little bit of a defense there in terms of, you know, hey, if this doesn't work out, I'll just say that I was doing it as a hobby. But what types of amazing things, because, you know, you've interfaced with just tons and tons and tons of creators. What types of amazing things have you seen happen to content creators from their YouTube channels? So for me, you know, I can say, you know, YouTube completely changed my life. You know, Derral was a huge, you know, part of that. You know, but from your, you know, experience, what types of just amazing things? I remember one time, way back in the day when I was first getting started, you know, you had mentioned to me that somebody got offered a trip and a gigantic bag of money to travel to a country to basically just go like meet somebody. So like what type of just wild experiences like that and life-changing experiences have you seen, you know, some of the content creators that you've worked with go through?
Yeah, I'll give you a couple of them, because I think there's a variety of different things. And I think what is important for one person might not be important for another.
Sure.
But I had a guy reach out. He was in retirement age, and he's like, man, I was in broadcasting, and I need something to supplement because I don't think I can live off just what I have on Social Security at all. And so he was selling everything, and he bought an RV. And that RV was taking him from place to place, but it was his place to bring down the costs, you know, versus, you know, the expense of everything that was going on. And so he reached out to me, read the book, and reached out to me and wanted to be a student. I didn't know this at the time, and I you know, I would never advise this. And so he came in, and I have a channel jumpstart, and it's not cheap, guys. It's like $6,000. And he went in, says, I'm going to go all in. And he put it on his credit card. And I didn't know that at the time, because he's like, he didn't have $6,000, but it on his credit card. And he's just like, with my channel, I just need to make $3,000 a month. And that will supplement what I need, you know, to do with Social Security. Right. And so he came in, I loved him as a person, you know, and I showed a format that he could do where he could be just naturally him. And then 2, he didn't need to do this amazing edit. Like he was trying to edit like Mr. Beast. I mean, stop, you know, like just let it play out. So it's really a really authentic edit. And, you know, what warms my heart was, yeah, he's able to get that $3,000 a month. But more importantly, you know, he made millions of dollars, you know, on YouTube. Like it literally transformed everything that he's doing. He's able to live life in a stage of life where he doesn't have to worry about money. And he
where it would have been scary otherwise.
Yeah. And go check his channel out. It's called RVTV, but just one of the greatest guys out there. But like per year, he's doing 7-figure a year on it, and then plus the brand deal side. I mean, that's just an ad revenue. That's not even brand deal side. And so there's just a lot of opportunity on it. I would say this, that's one scenario, right? Another one was I got a lady that reached out to me and says, my grandma, has these recipes, and we want to do something, and so we did something different, which was, hey, you need to do a recipe book. Like, she wanted to preserve her recipes on YouTube, for her posterity. I said, just put a book together, right? And she didn't have a huge following on YouTube at all. We're talking maybe a couple thousand people. Well, she had a video that was attached to a book, and the book was one of those where you could be fulfilled by Amazon, whatever. They did $2.7 million in books.
Oh my goodness.
And she was 80 years old,
Wow.
and she does the big cooking family type stuff. And she just had a video pop off, and people wanted the book, and it worked really, really cool. So it's like that was, and she passed, but it was a legacy piece. She wanted to preserve who she is, man. And her grandkids gets to see her in her element, which is cooking for people, right? And even though that she's passed, and so that to me is a big moment, right? Another one is, and I got this as of late, people that were just up to their eyeballs in debt, and here I got a text from them, and they just got out of debt. They just paid off their house, and so they're in a position to do whatever they want. They're making more money than they've ever made before. But the more importantly, the house that they just paid off has a built-in studio. It's massive studio too. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, has 7 different areas that they can shoot content with cameras that are up on it. And then too, it's just like they would get lost in their house, but it's like it's paid for now, man. It's just like there's all these experiences, right? I love the travel. Is like getting to experience things in other areas where people come in and pay for them to create content for them, and they're able to go and do things. One of my favorite ones is people that get to like right now going to the World Cup, like because of YouTube, they are going to go to the finals tomorrow on the World Cup and create content for the world. How amazing is that? It's something that they obsess with. And then to interact with someone that they've idolized, like having Messi, to have time with Messi. That's what's happening, man. Like that is like epic moments. One that I really enjoy is this is a fun one. But this creator reached out to me and says, man, if I have to do another dunk ball in my backyard video, I want to just die. And I'm like, dude, your content's not backyard basketball. Your content is basketball. It's the culture of basketball. Go do that. And to see, Jesser do what Jesser's doing now, and even going into soccer, there's a lot of opportunities out there, but it's like, we can do whatever we want on this if we have enough passion and love. And then too, and this is why VidSummit's really important, and this is why I do Channel Jumpstart, but I want to make it sustainable. And I want to make it sustainable. And the best way to make it sustainable is when you treat it like a business. And even though that it's a hobby, every hobby that's passionate will have a following. I was in Waco, Texas. And Waco, Texas is known for a couple things. One is a tragic thing happening with the FBI and this whole mess that's going down. But the most important thing in Waco, Texas is the invention of Dr. Pepper. And just to let you know, I went into the Dr. Pepper Museum because that's what you do when you're in Waco. You got to do the museum. I was there for meetings. And I just, as we had some team meetings there. And so I walked in over there, and I went and I literally had Heaven on Earth, which is a Dr. Pepper float. So like they would make this float. It was the most amazing float I ever had. It was the first time I had a Dr. Pepper float. I only did root beer.
And fresh from Dr. Pepper.
It was fresh.
So it's fresh. Yeah.
You couldn't, and it was the not bottled type. It was like mixed, like on premises. So it was like the Nirvana, right? So anyway, here I am having it. It's so good. And I go over to the meeting, and I'm sitting down in a hotel. Well, no, the first meeting is over at Chip and Joanna Gaines, facility. And if you're not familiar with them, they pretty much own 80% of Waco. And in fact, the hotel that I was staying at is one that they owned. But we're having a conversation on, how they built their empire. We were talking about The Chosen and what we were building, and, some synergy and learnings. It was like learning. Their new head of marketing was the CMO of Nike, so here you all have some really, really amazing people coming into it. Okay. And they got to me and they're like, Derral, what do you think of Waco? And I'm like, okay, just to let you know, I found my new vice, and I will always come and have a Dr. Pepper float. I'm never doing a root beer float ever again. If there's Dr. Pepper, it can be in a float for him. Anyway, so the next day we're over having our team meetings, and this is called the intentionality. But she sent over Dr. Pepper floats for every one of the team. So there's like 52 of us, and she brought literally Dr. Pepper Museum, Dr. Pepper floats over there, man. And it's like, man, the intentionality. The point that I'm getting at on this is when you're passionate about something and you treat it like a business, and you never know what it can become. Look at Chip and Joanna Gaines's business. They were flipping houses, doing all this other stuff, but look at what they built. I mean, they have thousands of employees. They have different brands. They have different businesses. It's just massive in that way. And what that is, it was taking one passion and taking their love, but more importantly, realizing what they're good at and what they're bad at, and what the other person's good at and what they're bad at, and then building a team around them to impact. And it's so awesome and humbling to see that. But that is happening right now. You look at Mr. Beast, what he's doing. He's like in every little thing there. It's awesome. But you don't need to be a Mr. Beast to do it. Look at Ryan Trahan. He's the opposite of Mr. Beast. Like he literally, Mr. Beast has hundreds of employees. Ryan maybe has 3. You could do what you love. You can.
I think that's the important message is, all these amazing things can happen also, but as an additional thing, or the most important is like what you get to experience in your day-to-day life in terms of just, the freedom that comes with, being able to call the shots instead of having to show up somewhere and, take the stuff from, whoever it is that you, report to, those types of things. I think that, is worth every bit of effort that you put into, whatever it is that you do to be able to do that, to be able to just wake up and then navigate your day based on, how you want to navigate your day. One of the things that, Dee and I talk about often is, just being able to, like, how awesome it's been for, a majority of our lives to wake up to where, unless we're catching a plane or something, we usually don't wake up to alarm clocks or anything like that. We wake up when we naturally, wake up. And just that by itself is worth all of the effort, all the work, all the late nights, whatever the thing is, just being able to, wake up without an alarm clock.
But you gotta do what you love, right? And that,
yeah.
And I think that's where it's at. So for me, it's more about building it in. And so this is the best advice for longevity on YouTube. Like there's not even a close second. If you're doing it on your own, it will die with you. It just will. And it depends on that. But if you build infrastructure around your processes and systems, and you have workflows, then it becomes something bigger than just you. And then 2, when that happens, there's a culture around what it is. Like the best production company in the history of YouTube that I ever walked on is Zach King's production company.
What was that like?
Oh my gosh, it is like so amazing. Because everyone Monday morning has a job. Okay. Guess what their job is? Bring 3 ideas. And they sit down and they go through their 3 ideas. And some of those ideas are so bad, but it's a starting place to create something so good. And that's where he gets his content. And so it's not him doing all the heavy lifting, but it's culturally a part of it. And then two, like everyone's a master at their craft. Like they're really, really good at what they do. Right. And it's what they need to do to pull it off. And they're pulling off things in ways that you can't even imagine. Right. And so what I'm saying is if you build processes and systems, then it's bigger than you. And then two, like you don't need a massive empire to make impact, right? But you need to treat it like a business. Look at business opportunities. One of the biggest things that we do is say yes too many times. We need to learn how to say no in a way of saying, you know what? No, this is not going to help me achieve X, Y, or Z, so I'm not going to do it. It's a distraction, right? Or say, no, this is what I need to do. I have to do this. This is what I have to do. Zach's brand manager spoke at VidSummit. Zach's talk at VidSummit that he did a few years ago is one of the best talks I've ever heard on a creator. In fact, I'm going to show you something that I have. It's his merchandise that's never seen the light of day. Okay. He's known as the Final Cut King, and this has never seen the Final Cut King. FCK, because someone told him that it looked like something else. They just piled up.
That's great.
And then two, it's so cool. It's around here somewhere. Maybe. Oh, dang it.
Another Nimin Live first, ladies and gentlemen.
No, it's 2-in-1 stream.
That's right.
Yeah, it's 2-in-1 stream.
You're able to create content that he loves. Like he has his own little magic packs right here, right? And I'm doing this for a couple things. I love Zach. I love all that he does. But it's like so on brand. You look at Mark Rober doing $60 million to education on this foundation that he's doing. It's like so cool, but it's like making science cool again, which is awesome. Like you can make so much impact around what you're doing. What you need to do is have passion, and then get passionate people around your vision, and then figure out where you're weak, and then bring in people that are strong in those areas that you're weak, but don't ever deviate from your vision and your passion. And you can have longevity. That's how you have longevity in this space. If you treat yourself as a YouTuber, you'll have ups and downs and sideways. If you treat yourself as a media company who happens to upload on YouTube, then you actually have stability. There's going to be multiple streams of income. Not all your income is going to be in one basket, and heaven forbid anything disrupts that basket. And it could. It's not that there's anything wrong, but it's just like if you're going to have predictability of longevity, that's what you need to do.
So for somebody that is, in that position where they are, wanting to take the first step towards, saying, hey, I want to take this from, the hobby that it currently is and start, treating this like a business. What's the first thing that you recommend people do? Do you still recommend, I know previously, we've asked a similar question in the past, and one of the first things that you mentioned is auditing your time and identifying the things that you do and you don't like to do through that audit. And then basically, going and hiring, or finding help or building systems around those things that you, are not the most fond of. Is that still the case?
Yes, that I always do what we call work week analytics and try to identify things that waste my time or things I'm not good at, and then try to find solutions for those. But I would say the first thing that I normally do is, if you want to treat this as a business, is to actually have a business plan and know exactly what you're building. Now, you don't have to have a lot of the things that you're still discovering and defining on it. But if your goal is, and if you got to set a goal, but if your goal is to go full time, my question is how could you go full time? What's the dollar amount that would you need to do? And what consistently you need to bring in that dollar amount to go full time? And then start creating a plan around that, because it's not a audience money issue. It's a money issue, right? So it's like, okay, is there a way that we can actually bring in that much money so I can dedicate more time on said project, and do what I want to do? What can free up my time? And so one of the things that I look at is like, what can I do there? And then also, what can I do to develop the skills that I need to get better or understand my audience. And then 2, going through the process of what I'm building and who's it for and what's engaging and what type of content I want to do. So creating that business plan is like key. And then I would say, have a step to do it. It's like when you get to a certain dollar amount, go from there. So let me give you an example. So I get these 1-hour consults a lot. So they come in, says, hey, I have an hour of your time, and I can only give them advice for 1 hour, and some of them are just that. Hey, this is what I'm looking to do. So we kind of define, the parameters of the business and whatever. And then we look at, okay, how are we going to make money? What's the dollar amount? So they tell me the dollar amount. And then I generally will give them an option of how they can do that very quickly. One, they had an email list of 800 people. Okay. They had a YouTube audience of 0 people. And they're like, how can I do this full time? And so we crafted something where we made an offer to those 800 emails that could bring in revenue. Okay. That alone got them to be full time. Just 800 emails. They just found that right offer through that conversation that was able to elevate something that they were now full time. And
without saying the person, if you said what that offer was, would you be giving away anything in terms of?
No, I can't give the person because it was a.
Yeah, I don't want you to give the person, but in terms of the in the offer, just so people get an idea of what you mean by that, because for people that aren't like marketers and things like that,
they were accounting and they were looking to start an accounting podcast. And basically it was tips of how they could save tens of thousands of dollars on their taxes. And so it was like that, but it brought in getting them, I was trying to help them realize that they could make money on selling a product, but then also when they bring new people on, as clients, they could take a percentage by giving it to trusted CPAs and stuff like that. But that product alone brought them in $250,000.
Nice.
And when you really break it down, you got to realize that the list that they had were people like me that make a lot of money and they're looking for ways to save money, right, through taxes. And so like right now, I'm top, literally the top tax bracket. Well, there's government incentives that I don't know anything about at all in the history of incentives, right? If you come to my house, there's an incentive that I did at my house just to save money on taxes, but then too, I'm a prepper. But I have a solar array at the back of my house that runs my whole property. I have a pretty big property. It's like 10.5 acres. But I have a solar array, and I took the incentive to have a solar array to be off the grid because that was a government incentive, right? But he was able to put that together and people bought it because, hey, if it can save me time and is this opportunity, then he was able to make money on the back end of that as well. Whereas like, hey, we have other tax strategies. We can sit down with that. We can put an advisor from it. But yeah, $250,000 just off of that, just that first go around, was able to go full time. And now they're launching the podcast. And so it's just
Nice.
like, it frees up enough time where all he needs to do is put it into a form. And then it's that loyalty, but that loyalty is an audience too, as well, that would listen to that podcast.
Absolutely love it. Yeah, it's fantastic.
But that's one way. When I look at it, it's the biggest thing. If you're really good with video, or if you're need to get comfortable on camera, I would do UGC. You could make enough money to do this full time, just putting UGC content, maybe doing 3 to 5 videos a day, and doing UGC. They'll pay you for that, and that'll give you enough of your day that you can do the rest. Maybe you're not doing that full time, but you have enough money to replace your full-time income or supplement it where you can kind of scale back. But seriously, man, it's pretty, pretty amazing where you look at the opportunities. So I just think, where's the fastest way to make money to get you so you could designate more time and energy and effort for it? And you just got to be creative. There's a lot of different ways. I love affiliate marketing. I love, well, I'll tell you a fun one. This is actually a fun one.
Hey, really quick, Derral, just to make sure we're all clear. So Brad says, did Derral just invite us to his home? Yeah, man. So I think we're having a party at Derral's tonight. I think that's what he just said. If I understood that correctly. So
Oh,
we're having a party at
that's
Derral's so that he can get a tax break.
That's exactly what I heard.
Yeah, that's what you heard too, right? Yeah.
that's exactly
So
what
Okay, so you're talking about a tax break, and so that's called the Augusta rule. And so the reason why these YouTubers were at my house yesterday is so I can use that Augusta rule. Okay, like and trust me, you've never been to my house. Like, why haven't you come to my house?
because I live in Thailand, Derral.
Well,
You know,
your mom lives
we
in
haven't.
Arizona. I'm not too far away from Arizona.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
On
yeah.
a trip to visit mom one of these days, we should
Don't
take
you
a
really?
Yeah.
slight
So
detour to
basically,
Utah.
I only go to the states when VidSummit comes around, and then I use that time to also go and see my mom. So basically, it's like a big trip that I make. So I know you're exceptionally busy, around VidSummit and all that. But yeah, man, I'm happy to swing by for sure.
Listen, I have a casita back there. I wouldn't even know that you're there, right?
Okay.
Oh, you'll know.
Well, then why would I come if you
You'll
don't know
know.
if I'm there?
What I'm saying is, if you need space, like I have YouTubers, that come because they know that, hey, if I go to an airport or whatever, it's kind of weird, whatever, and there's a lot of whatever. So they have a casita, it has a big master bathroom, big master bedroom, has its own kitchen. And if you go up, it literally has a bunk room where we have 8 bunks in there. So you have all that other stuff. And then in the other part of the house is every bedroom has its own bathroom. And so we can really host people really well. We do hosting really well, but we love to host. And I'm like, hey, if it's a tax advantage that I'm able to write it off, then why wouldn't we do the Augusta rule? So we do the Augusta rule, and hey, Primo, they're yesterday they're using the pickleball courts, they're using the basketball courts where I have the YouTube logo on it. Since YouTube paid for this house, I have to do my nods to YouTube, of course.
Sure.
They're swimming in the pool, so I get to write that all off. So there we go.
Love it.
I just started playing pickleball, so you have my full attention.
Yeah, I not only have a pickleball court, but I have 2, and they're side by side, so you can crush it. But Nick, I want to say this though, it's like when you treat it like a business and you're looking at business opportunities and you look at what's the fastest way you can actually make money. It's not ad revenue, guys. It's not. The ad revenue, we launched a new channel last September, and it's a very costly channel. It costs a lot of money. I think our budget on it's like $50,000, a video. And we're only making like $18,000 per video, per video release on it. But we know what it can become, and we know where it can be. And yeah, we have brand deals that we can integrate with it, so it brings it more up to 25. And we're still growing. It's not a massive channel yet, but it's growing, and we're having fun. And it's doing exactly what it does. Come in 3 years, it'll be massive. It'll overtake our main channel. It definitely will. And so I like to look at it. What's the fastest way we can make money without selling our soul, and then we can be happy with it? But can it lead to an audience that we're looking to build? Is it in line with that? And then 2, I always look at, is there any products or services that we can do outside of what we're currently doing that can expedite that? With YouTubers, I think they're really, really gun shy on certain things. I was looking at an earnings video that was going around where a big streamer, and they were only making, this is what blew me away, they were only making $18,000 off of merchandise a month. And I'm like, man, for how big they are, I was kind of blown away, because I know creators that have less than 100,000 subscribers that are doing $40,000 a month in merchandising, and so you got to find their vein on, what they're looking to build and do. So with Bats Off Road, when I was telling you, when I partnered up with him, I go, he had 18 shirts. I says, no, we're going to do 1 shirt, 1 hat. And he goes, people want variety. I says, great. It's a variety of 1 shirt, 1 hat. They get 1 black shirt, one hat, right? And then we were looking for the right type of product. Well, the product that we have is a recovery rope, specialty product. People buy that rope. It's like $300 with the kit or whatever, just so they can hold it when they're watching videos of Matt's off-road recovery. Okay. And then 2, they're dreaming of the day that one day they can use that rope. Okay. And so like when you really build product around your audience, it's very synergistic. And we've done like, if I told you the number, and I'm not going to repeat the number on this, but it's significant when it comes to YouTube, you know, on that, like we would just be happy on just that revenue alone, you know, Matt put it the best way. Matt put it the best way. He had a tow truck company. Okay. And people that just come into our shop, we have a shop that they can buy merchandise. And the people that just come in 1 week, we make more money in 1 week than he did all year as a tow truck driver.
That's wild.
So that's
believable though. I mean, that's the beauty of YouTube and content, right? Being able to make those types of things, being able to make those types of things possible.
Yeah, I just love it. I just love it. Do you know another thing though is like when you treat it as a business and you realize that there's certain people that are better than you at it, at certain things. What they cannot be better at you is your vision. You need to be the visionary. You need to be the one that's creating the stuff, but you're building a team around it that you can do some amazing things. One of my favorite people, his name's Santiago. He was just playing FIFA online, and he'd integrate with that. And his love is football. His love is soccer, right? And when we came in, and he was just a lone person doing it, and we're like, okay, you got to build a team around you and kind of work from there. Look at Foot Crunch's footprint on YouTube; it's massive. And here he is. English is not his first language. And yet look at his audience and how amazing it is. He's doing amazing things, but what he's done was built a business around him and his love and his passion. And then 2, it validated ways where he could do things in the sport that he loves, that he's obsessed with. And he grew a community around that as well, where he is well known with soccer players around the world, And so for me, that's why I like to do it. Is if you treat it as a business, and then 2, you don't necessarily need to be rich and famous. We just want the rich side of it, right? Like, how do we be sustainable where it's coming in, where money is coming in without you doing any work? That's why I love YouTube, because there are YouTubers right now. A friend of mine, he has a little channel called Outdoor Boys. Okay. He retired. He's still getting money every video. Okay. Cause people go back and watch his library, and then his son's now Outdoor Tom is coming up. Right. And he's mentoring him, but you know what? His money, he still makes a ton of money. He doesn't get brand deals coming through his channel, but he still makes a ton of money because his library is so good. When his content's so good, people are still watching it. It's still engaging.
And he retired quite some time ago, right? It's been what, 6 months now, maybe a year or something?
No, it's been a year. It's been a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that right there is that's an asset that can continue to bring you money if you do it right. And then 2, you can license that off platform onto other stuff. Look at all the shows on Netflix that all they're doing is repurposing content on from YouTube.
Yeah, they're doing that with podcasts as well. I know there's like a little conflict going on with Netflix and YouTube around like podcasters and where they can put their content and all that stuff as part of their
let's be clear.
agreements.
Let's be clear. Right. You'll never get discovered on Netflix. Mm-hmm. There's not a world that you'll get discovered on Netflix. And so if Netflix well, I'll say it this way. You'll always get discovered on YouTube. YouTube will promote the heck out of you. If it's good content, you'll always find it. It's the #1 podcasting platform in the world. You think Spotify owns it? No, YouTube owns it. And I'm not saying this. It's a data thing, right? Now, if you want money immediately, and then 2, with that money comes restrictions of what you can't do. If you want money and restrictions, then Netflix might be a place for you. when Jimmy was asked at figuring out where to put his series for the amazing TV show he's doing right now, Netflix was a contender. I told him not to do Netflix. It doesn't matter if he gave more money, because the reason why is they would own the IP. And Beast Games would be a Netflix owned thing if they gave him money from it, and they would leverage it. Where Amazon, they were able to negotiate that in a way where Jimmy retained ownership. There was percentages of profits if they licensed it within a certain amount of time. But realistically, it came back down to that. And then two, this is a kicker for that decision was, okay, that's this. Now who's going to pay you for marketing? Because there's marketing money. That's not production money, and you should ask for marketing money. Netflix didn't want to give any marketing money. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Amazon gave significant amount of marketing money. Okay. And that marketing was brand deals integrated back into the content that was going to promote the stuff, but also prize money too. So it's just like, man, it's like, you gotta be smart with this. And so for me, it's a no brainer. If you just want a money dump, okay, that's great. You can go ahead and do that. The example that I was going to give you of life-changing moments, I know I did a full circle loop on this one, which is someone had zero social following. They had a pilot idea for a concept. They went and pitched it. Well, they came to me and says, we need to pitch this to some brands to get some money from them. They went and pitched the idea to Home Depot. Home Depot wrote a $1.3 million check.
Nice.
And that was, they had zero following. They just had a business idea, and it was very synergistic with what the corporate idea and what they had, their initiatives that's going on. So if you can align yourself with initiatives, there's money that will come into it. You could do groundbreaking stuff on that.
Yeah, Larry, Home Rapid Repair. I'm sure you heard that one just now. Hey,
Yep.
If you are just joining us, I'm talking to YouTube expert Derral Eves. He is the founder of VidSummit. VidSummit is a conference for content creators. It's happening in Dallas, Texas, September 29th through October 1st. And what VidSummit is it's a conference for content creators where we all go there to learn together. We go there to share the things that we know. And with VidSummit, it's not like, big corporate conferences where, they don't have creators, at the front of it. With VidSummit, it is literally creators for creators. And Derral, when he first started this, he created it so that people could, or so that he could learn, from people that have experience. And now, everybody can go there and learn from content creators that have experience. So when it comes to the speakers that are there, this is just because he's still, adding to the lineup here. This is, currently who is going to be there for the current lineup. And I'm sure you see some familiar faces here, but even if you are looking at this and you don't know some of these people, another thing that I do want to let you know is that when it comes to VidSummit, you're also learning from people that are behind the scenes of, successful YouTube channels and different aspects of the creator economy. So in addition to the famous people that you'll see there, you also see a lot of people that are behind the scenes that are extremely smart, extremely knowledgeable, and they're sharing everything.
Right there, like Grace, just under me, just go right under me.
Right here.
She is one of the smartest people in the freaking space. So Diary of CEO, she it learns from failure and applies to content strategy. By far, one of the going to be the best talks on the planet when it comes to this. Yeah, she's known for the Diary CEO, but seriously, she is one freaking smart cookie. And when I got on the phone with her, just kind of offering it for her, she's like, you know what? I've heard some great things about VidSummit. I've never come. I heard that it's a place to learn for people like me. And I'm like, yes, girl, this is definitely the place you need to go. But when you're talking about strategizing from, the Diary of a CEO, of how they leverage and what they do and clipping and everything from there, man, there's so much that you can learn from. And so the thing that I love about VidSummit more than anything else is the people that are there. They might be in front of the camera, they may be behind the camera, but everyone has been vetted. Every single one has been vetted by me on hey, there's something that you can learn and grow from this. So next week, I think the price goes up next week. I think or in August 1st, because we're going to introduce the schedule And as soon as the schedule goes on, that's when the price goes up. But I can guarantee you, when you start reading who's there and you go in depth on some of these things, you don't want to miss out. Because realistically, we're announcing a couple of new keynotes that are coming on. And then two, there's a lot of people there that have some pretty unique, amazing stories. So I'm like, man, I want to learn from them. Because like, to get on stage at VidSummit, it's easy. I just want to learn from you. And then that's the easiest way. The bad thing about it is we have so much requests. It's kind of hard to vet every single one. So it's easier when I know that you've been to VidSummit, you know what it is about, versus not. So.
Yeah, so if this is something that you're interested in, which you should be if you're a content creator, then you can find out more about VidSummit by going to vidsummit.com. So, Derral, another thing that I want to talk to you about is community posts. So when it comes to community posts on YouTube, what are some things that you're doing with community posts or having people do with community posts just to leverage them in the best way? Because I think when it comes to community posts, like everybody talks about, live streaming, everybody talks about, YouTube shorts, everybody talks about regular, 16:9 aspect ratio content. But I know, with the way that you do things, that you guys are also using community posts in a really creative way. So what are your thoughts on community posts?
Yeah,
and how people should be using them?
What we're trying to do is have a really good assumption of who our viewer is and the psychological triggers and so on. So I use community posts to validate my assumptions. Right now, I was with some YouTubers and yesterday, and they posed a very pivotal thought, and I disagreed with it. I says, I don't know if that's true or not. And they says, well, this is what we think. I says, well, we want to take a bet. We want to bet on this. And they're like, well, yeah, let's do it. So just do a community post. Let's do a survey. And I'll bet you, the people that you think, and it was all around projects they have a project sitting in their backyard. And I says, I think people are watching it for entertainment and not learning from the project and what you think. And they're project type of people. They might think they are, but they're not. And so I says, just do a survey. Go ahead and say zero projects down to whatever. When it comes to this, and I won't give you the whole parameters around it, but anyway, I won the bet. It was just like people are watching it because they're entertained. They're generally interested around the subject. They're not active doers of the subject. And so, there's that aspect of it. Like people just love what it is. So I would say community posts is really good to engage and validate, what people are doing. And one of the funniest ones was I had Bikes and Beards, Sean Kerr at my house. We were in an inner circle and we were talking about the viewer. And I says, hey, what do you think? Like, do you think people, where do they watch your content? Because there's a portion of it that's TV. We know that they're sitting in their house watching it and but I want their mobile version. What do you think? And he goes, honestly, I think they're watching it in the bathroom. And I go, okay. So they're a break at work or clip, whatever. They're just doing it. And I says, well, in your next video, I want you to call it out and just say, hey, you're probably watching this in the bathroom, and then read through the comments, and then let's validate it in a survey. And so he did it, and it was like pretty funny. It was pretty engaging and massively. You caught me. I was caught in the act or whatever. But he was able to validate something, and then too, we did it as a community post to kind of blend it because like you can get both versions of it, but that poll is really powerful. And I can say that what it helped us understand as a psychologist, like people want to watch what they're into. Sometimes they don't have the time. Sometimes it's busy. Sometimes they have to multitask, in a very gross and disgusting way, but they're multitasking, right?
Right.
But it helps us understand, what we need to pay off and what we need to do, and also it understands what kind of content, because this is something, okay, I love YouTube analytics, and I'm telling you, there's certain things, certain tools that they've given us that gives us the ability to do it. Thank you, Renee, serious from the bottom of my heart. Real-time analytics was a game changer. talking about viewership from new viewer, casual viewer, and regular viewer. Game changer when it comes to that. But more importantly is the advanced mode of analytics, where I can group things together. So I can group all the videos that are on mobile, higher mobile viewage, and I can group all the videos that were more on TV viewership, and see the difference between the two. And I can start analyzing through that lens. And we were able to do that, and it changed the strategy where we were able to have higher retention on ideas that would be more TV focused versus ideas that would be mobile focused.
Smart, very smart. And when it comes to the grouping feature, just in case you're watching this and you don't know what that is, so the grouping feature is inside of your YouTube analytics, and it allows you to the advanced mode of your analytics, and it allows you to, like Derral was talking about, group together content for different reasons. So, if you're trying to figure out something like he was in this mobile example, then you can group videos together based on however you've designed that video, where it was targeted for, how people are responding to that video, anything like that. And you can use it as a way to understand, your content at scale, and, different buckets of content and how they're performing against each other and those types of things. So it's a really powerful feature when it comes to YouTube. So speaking of the grouping feature, Derral, like what other ways do you use the grouping feature? So, for the people that do know, what the grouping feature is, like, what other things?
Yeah, pattern recognition. So, like, if I see a pattern in a few videos, I want to group them together to really validate, is that pattern true or not? Is it just an assumption? Is it there? I love the grouping feature through buckets. So I'll have every video in a bucket in a group, just so I can kind of compare them as one. Take a whole bunch of stuff and do it as one, but then also break down, how YouTube's seeing the group. Is it seeing it through the lens of traffic sources, device type, even audience data? So I like to say, okay, these skew more male than female. What's that? What's the reasoning behind that? So it helps me really understand the data deeper of taking an assumption and validating that assumption based on other data that I can do it in a group form, in a pattern form. But I can actually say, when we really look at it, if you want to succeed on YouTube, is anticipating what the viewer wants, because that's all the algorithm's trying to do. Is trying to figure out what the viewer wants, and then how to keep them on the video longer. That's what YouTube's trying to do. So, like, once you see that lens of predictable things that you're doing within videos that gets higher than normal engagement, and then two, guys, you can see other people's data by going to their video and rolling over. You can see the highest engaged moments of it, and you might say, wait, this is really highly engaged. Some of it you need to use your head, because like some of those are really engaged because someone put a time code in a comment, or Google is going to directly to a time code in a moment, or there's a chapter that's there. So you have to take that lens first. But then too, there might be some really engaged opportunities, and you might say, well, why is that? It will make no relevance at all if you just start at that point. You have to go to say, is there something leading to it? So last night, or yesterday, we were doing an engaged moment, and I says, why was this the highest engaged moment of your video? And he goes, honestly, I can't figure it out. So we were trying to go through, and he shared something personally that no one knew about him. And I go, that's it. Like, people, they rewound it, and it was an engaged moment, or it was a shareable moment. They shared that minute marker because of you being vulnerable and shared something you never shared before. He goes, oh my gosh, never even thought about that. I go, it's true. Even though that you've had all this massive success, you shared a moment. That's why it was highly engaged. It was a going deeper moment. It was that emotional connection moment. And so, like, you want to do that respectfully, and you don't want to do it where you're disingenuous, but you just got to realize, hey, that isn't just as an engagement just as much as some spectacle. In fact, it's more powerful than a spectacle from my point of view.
Yeah, I would agree on that. And one question, just because it's like the elephant in the room in terms of everything that's happening right now. So, and this one actually is from Manager's Mike podcast.
Yep.
What is your perspective on AI over the next 5 years and how it's going to impact content creators?
Those creators that don't use AI will be left behind for those creators that use AI. And then two, do not use AI to create your content. Use AI as a tool to create your content. Like I've been using AI for a very, very long time. In fact, we own a couple AI businesses, some that you might see soon, that we've been developing. But the reality is, like, use it as a tool, not a replacement of you and your content creation. And it can enhance, like right now, some VFX stuff. Like I'm doing some VFX stuff that it would have cost millions of dollars to do some of the stuff that I'm doing for thousands of dollars, right? And then, if you're looking to automate you and automate everything that you're doing in every bit of your creation, then why are you on YouTube, man? Like, you're not on it for the right reason. If it's just that, then you're in the wrong place. If you're passionate about something and you're like, man, if this can actually assist me to put out more content or higher quality content, or I can do things that I've never done before, then absolutely use that. YouTube is an AI company. Like whether you like it or not, like the biggest transformation, the reason why I got all the gold play buttons behind me is when YouTube moved away from a view-based algorithm to an AI-based algorithm. That happened in 2013. And so they've been on the forefront of all that. And then all their products, they're going to assist you to make better content or to analyze things that people that have a hard time reading data, you can have a conversation chat now with them, just like a person, of understanding it and how you can apply it. So like, don't think that it's going to replace you. Use it as a tool to become better. And I know there's going to be purists, and those purists, I don't blame them. I can understand them, but and this is the analogy that George Lucas used. It's like the introduction of a car. If you want to stick with the horse and carriage, go ahead. You can. It's still functional for you, but this is where everything's going. And for me, this is the biggest opportunity in the creator space, because anyone now can create content. From my point of view, it's just as disruptive as what YouTube was broadcasting yourself. And now you have the tools to not be the best at thumbnails and editing or whatever. You can still put out amazing stuff. I mean, what YouTube's even doing of helping you with thumbnails now is amazing, and so it's just like, there's a lot of opportunity there, and it's a low barrier entry. Then two, for those that would prefer to go live, this is your moment, man. The more AI is there, now it's live, there's going to be a craving for live. There just is going to be a craving for live. This is your moment to shine, your moment to enhance, your moment to grow. So yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for it to be used as a tool, but not to replace me completely. To assist me, yes. To assist me in ways that I haven't thought of, yes. To do things that I never thought could be possible because we didn't have the budget, yes. But not at the replace of my passion. There's not a world that I'd want to do that.
Yeah, I think also, part of being a creator is that creativity, right? It's that putting yourself into things. So yep. I think, if people start stripping that away, then I think you're kind of losing the point, right? Because, you don't have that, creative expression. You don't have, you're not, being a creative. You're basically just taking whatever it says and then you're running with, that. Like, I love when it comes to having it as a bounce board in terms of, hey, here's all of my stuff. What am I missing here? Or is there anything that I haven't, thought of that's on this list that, that would, that I should be aware of, things like that. But in terms of the initial core of, ideas and, things that, just make you a creator, I think those things should never be let go of, because
Yeah,
that's
I
where the humanity comes from, I think.
I've always had the issue of, oh, I just had AI write my script. I had AI do this. I had AI do that. And I'm like, what was your intervention in it? Like, is AI now your content? Is the AI now your master? Like seriously, like, is AI telling you exactly what to do because it's going to have a higher probability, whatever? Or are you using AI to make a better you, right? To enhance what you're doing. Like I love AI for research. It can pull research in and deliver it to me in ways that it would have taken me so much time to do it. I still have to analyze it. I still need to go through it. I still need to validate it. Just because AI did doesn't mean it's right. It's like people are like, hey, AI, this gave me this #1 best audience, title and thumbnail. I'm like, yeah, it's looking at the wrong audience. Like your audience doesn't even engage with it. Like you're trying to do AI version. Like we had this conversation literally yesterday. You're doing an AI thumbnail and it looks super great, but you're not a Mr. Beast audience. Your audience would rather prefer a screenshot. And I validated it. We did an A/B test right then and there, and it was true. They preferred a screenshot. Okay, so like, don't overcomplicate it. It's like understanding people. So, but anyway, don't get me going on this, I guess.
Yeah, you sound pretty passionate about that.
Yeah.
I think that on the tool side, I think it's gonna be really interesting watching, let's say over the next, like he mentioned, 5 years. I think that, when it comes to video editing and, those sorts of things, just on like rough cuts. And I mean, you can already do that, already, but, just being able to get, like, okay, I know that, when I do that last take, that's always the best one. So then if it can just cut those things up for me and, get it ready so I can move things around, that kind of stuff. I think that that's fantastic, but I'm really excited for that side of AI. But I mean, it's already there with pretty much everything else.
I'm excited with anything that YouTube's doing AI that can help me. So like auto selecting, hey, this might make a great short. I'm all for that. It's like, hey, this would be great to do it. It's going to engage. It's really on brand. It's whatever. But the moment that it's like, oh, here's something that I created for you to go to your audience that I had no say in, like, there's not a world that I'd even want to do it. It's like, what's the point? Okay, Nick, I got to apologize. I have a hard out.
Okay.
Could we give away like 5 tickets to VidSummit? And then I wanted to ask a question of you and D, because we've never done this at VidSummit before. I think we do this like in different places, but I was thinking, what if we did like a YouTube educators meetup where maybe we can get like VidSummit to foot the bill, and we just get like a location where it's a little bit less formal in the sense of whatever, but it's just like, you know what, just our tribes, let's just get together, let's have some food that's there, and roll for that. Maybe we can get like Roberto and a few of the people that we love to do it. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm always down for stuff like that. Absolutely.
Okay, so why don't we do that, and then I'll get with my team to get a location on it. It'll be a little bit more, hey, just kind of like a mixer, whatever. We can kind of go from there. Okay. But let's do that. And if you wouldn't mind, I got to just jump off. Okay. We give away let's do 5 tickets, and then moving forward, if you guys feel free, 2 tickets a week on your live streams or whatever. We'd love to get as many people that haven't gone before there. We want that as much as possible. And I think the thing for me is this is probably going to be the best VidSummit that's ever existed in VidSummits.
That happens every year. Like it just keeps getting better and better. Yeah.
This one's different though. It really, really is. And it's because there's a huge opportunity right now in the creator economy. Like now's the time. Brands are very serious. Like I had brands that literally called us up, says, Derral, we hear this is the place for us to find creators to work with as sponsors. We're doing something that I haven't even announced yet. This will be a perfect place to announce. We are doing live brand deals at VidSummit where people are coming up and the brands are on stage, and they're giving creators the opportunity to go be a brand deal.
Wow. That's awesome. Wow. Yeah, very awesome.
Okay, I got a dip.
Innovating.
But would you
Derral, thank you so much. Yep. We'll take care of those. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your expertise and your knowledge, and just always being awesome, man. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Have a a great rest of your weekend, and I'll be sending you a message this week as well, so we can hop on a call.
Okay, and then
right.
Chantel can get all the
Take
names
care.
like that. That's what she's there for. So
Okay.
thanks everyone.
Thanks, Derral. Thanks again. All right, so you heard what just happened there. So we're giving away 5 tickets to VidSummit, and it looks like 2 tickets per week is what he said there as well, which is super exciting. So just a quick reminder, for those,
it's time to end the stream though.
it is.
I don't know.
We got a minute. I don't know if we can give away 5 in a minute. Can we?
We can give away a couple of them. Maybe we'll have to bring some of the others back in next week. But let's figure out how we're going to give some of these away.
So first, I do want to just remind you, if you are just joining us, we just had Derral Eves on, and Derral Eves is the founder of VidSummit, and VidSummit is a conference for content creators where basically we all come together and we share what it is that we know with other content creators. People are on stage, sharing what it is that they know from there. There's big creators there in terms of people that you are probably familiar with that sharing their information. There's also people from behind the scenes, behind a lot of creators that are there sharing their expertise as well, and all the different things that they found over the last year, and sharing what works for them. And it is really just the conference for content creators. So, every year there's a bunch of different conferences, around YouTube. And, they all have their place, they're all good for different things. But as somebody that is a YouTuber, if you're serious about being a content creator, you're serious about taking things to the next level, you're serious about, just doing the thing as a content creator, you definitely want to make sure that you check out VidSummit. Now, we are going to be giving away, 5 tickets, but with that, I want to encourage you also that, if you don't win the tickets, that's fine. But, still make sure that you do go over here, because the price increases for VidSummit in 13 days. So because of that, between now and then, you want to make sure that you do get in to get your ticket, so that you can make sure that you do get in before the price goes up, and that'll save you a little bit of money that you can put towards your hotel. Now, as we get into, but you can find out more about that at VidSummit.com, which is right up here at the top of the screen right now. But before we get into the actual giveaway, I do want to mention that as a part of this, one of the things that is really important is when you are putting your name or whatever trigger word it is that we put up on the screen, when we are putting that up on the screen, please only put your, only put the trigger words that we list up there. Please only put those in if you can physically get to Dallas, Texas between September 29th and October 1st. And if you can, because you still have to cover your airfare, you still have to cover your hotel. So please only, participate in the actual giveaway if you can get to Dallas, Texas. Now, before we do this giveaway, I need Dee to hold down the fort for a second while I step away for about 30 seconds, and then I'll be right back, and then we're going to start giving away tickets.
Boy, there's so much
anticipation, right? The anticipation.
I really don't know if we're going to get to 5 today. But so wow, that was amazing having Derral come on. What was your favorite takeaway from all of that? Because Derral always comes in with so much information. And we touched on AI, and I agree with him in terms of using AI to speed up the process of everything that you're doing, and not using it solely just to create your content, using it as a tool to create your content. I think that's the way to do it, brainstorming and all of that. I'm going to read some of these here in the... Now, it was very difficult for me not to derail that conversation. So I stepped back there. No derailment when Derral's in here. The UGC content. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. Tish says, I'll walk there if I have to. I live in the Texas heat. Karen says, why can't we exchange for a virtual ticket? I'm not sure. I don't make the rules. However, it is possible that as it gets closer to the event, maybe we can get some virtual tickets as well. Or maybe if you do get a in-person ticket that you win, maybe you might be able to transfer that. We'll see. If you win, we'll figure that out if that happens. My AI girlfriend agrees, D. Yeah, well, that's what I thought there. You loved how he explained AI. Yeah, and Doug says treating YouTube as a business. Hey, Managers Mike podcast, how you doing? You did a great job. I am proud of you. There you go. Yeah, I did my best. I did my best. The community step, putting them first. Yep, that's good too. Yeah, the entire time, with the exception of maybe the 5 little cut-ins, I blew the whole conversation up on my screen here, and I was just sitting back like this, just listening. I love when he comes in and drops it on us like that. Using AI as a tool. Yeah, that's a smart way to do it. All the information on shorts and how to use it. Yeah, I agree. I think if you're not making short form content, I think you're missing out on opportunities. And I know when they first rolled it out, that was a problem. And YouTube is still trying to get things together. And they finally bridged that gap. And I think they're doing a pretty good job now. So if you're not making short form content, I would try it. I would definitely try it and try different ways of making it. Don't just try one way and say, well, I'm doing it this way and it's not working, so I'm going to stop doing it. There's lots of different ways to film it. There's different ways to hook people. So try different things. And I would also say if you do have that short form content, then upload those to other platforms as well. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever it is that you want to upload, put them there because you never know you're going to grow an audience.
Yeah.
We had some good takeaways.
Yeah, man, that was great. I absolutely love when Derral comes on just because he is just a wealth of information because, like he's worked with so many channels. Like he's been doing YouTube consulting for like not exactly as long as YouTube's been around, but almost for as long as YouTube has been around. So basically once he figured it out, then he started helping other people figure it out. So, with that much experience, almost 2 decades worth of experience like that, being able to tap into that is super, super valuable. So I'm grateful that he comes on and shares what he knows here.
Yeah, and we need to go to his house because I really want to. I want to see how he put together the whole prep. I know he's a big prepper, and I want to see his solar array. I want to see how he put all that together, and of course, play some pickleball on the court. And we had some super chats come in, so you might want to go through the super chats first.
Okay, so really quick here, we have Noah God Bicycles says, and we had a lot of these come through, so I'm actually not going to be able to get to like every. Well, yeah, I might be able to.
Yeah, you can get to them.
So it says, Noah God Bicycles says, I jumped on YT shows with my live shop talk and Sprocket and Coffee Weekend briefing. Big following, great stuff, guys. Love the insights. Awesome. Thank you for that. Carlos mentions that Derral's book is a must-read. I'm always gifting it to friends in Brazil. I've gifted it to people, too. Says Derral is the reason why I found Nick and D for the first time. Love it. That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know you ran into us.
I didn't know that.
Derral. That's awesome.
But I'm happy. I'm happy
me
about
too.
that. Yeah.
Me too. Larry mentions, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I know I said I was going to post more, but he was saying that when Derral's talking about not sharing your whole life story. And then Brad says less than 300 subscribers when I first started following Nick. 62 months later, now at 8,622. Still having fun. Love that, Brad.
And by the way, just for the record, Brad is the only person I've ever handed my channel off to.
Yeah, you did.
The only person. Mm-hmm. I completely gave my entire channel to him to run a live stream.
Right.
Didn't know him. Mm-hmm.
And
first live stream, trial by fire, brother.
Tangoing in the kitchen said, I was in shock at the end of last week's stream. Now that shock is over, I'm looking forward to attending VidSummit for the first time.
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing you there. Cafe Fit says, I'll see y'all at VidSummit because she got tickets during Derral's stream. And Larry says, D, you should come out to Dallas this year. So yeah, we're going to see what we can do to try to get D out there as well.
The trip is hard on me.
Yeah. D's an old man.
You know what? When I was a young man, I used to travel all the time back and forth between like Asia and United States, back down South America, whatever. Didn't bother me. Didn't bother me at all. But as I age and do it less, it's just brutal. Absolutely brutal on me.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it this year.
If someone can concoct a a medicine, a drug, if you will, to just like inject me to where like I feel like a human. You're right. I fly whatever 18 hours over there and I land and I feel normal, and then fly 18 hours back and then they inject me again and I feel normal again. I don't take like 2 weeks to recover.
Yeah.
I'm there. I'm so there. All right, so how are we going to give these away?
Yeah, so here we go. The very first thing is we are just running with the trigger word.
Oh,
so
I think you know what? They've already been typing that out.
that's okay. So we're running with the trigger word. So for the first ticket, all you have to do is put VidSummit into the chat. And again, remember that this is like only put your name in here if you can physically get to VidSummit. So in that way, it leaves space for everybody else, so that we can, try to make sure that the tickets are going to people that will, that can actually get there, and not take that opportunity away from somebody that won't be able to, travel and get the hotel and that stuff. Because this giveaway covers your ticket. So yeah, so here we go. It's they're coming in. So I'm just gonna let them come in here for a minute, give everybody a chance to get their name in here. So if you're watching on TV right now, pick up your phone, go to my channel. Right, giving you just a minute here. Go to my channel, and then you'll be able to put the word into the chat that way.
Did you say they can or cannot exchange this currently for like if somebody wins this, but they're like, hey, I can't really go. Can they exchange that for?
Yeah, this is for the in-person.
In-person.
Yeah, so only try for this, or only put that word in there if you can physically make it to VidSummit.
Hopefully we'll get some replay tickets to give away later.
Yep.
I mean, we still have a little bit of time.
Yeah.
For the event.
Yeah, it's in-person only. So Chantel just added the clarity there that it's in-person only. Okay, so here we go. We're just seeing if anybody else is gonna drop the word in there. And then we are going to. Oh, we have X the King is in Dallas already. Yeah, so you already got that part covered, right? Next, it's just got to be a ticket.
You probably could figure out how to sneak in.
No, don't do that. Yeah, they actually do have security. Yeah.
Oh, come on.
So here we go.
Like VidCon has security, right?
Well, no, it's like they have actual security now. They didn't used to when they were in LA, but they have security.
Do they have security there now?
Uh-huh, yeah.
Like real security?
Oh yeah.
Don't try to sneak in.
So let's see here. So let me get my drum roll ready, and here we go. Here's the first one.
Very quiet.
And it's always exciting when you see your name, right? And you see your name on there, and then it starts slowing down. And then we start seeing who's it going to be, who's it going to be, who's it going to be. Georgia Tech 3968 is number one. So Chantel, capture that one. And for anybody that does win, congratulations to you, Georgia Tech 3968. So for anybody that does win, you can contact Chantel at VidSummit.com. So Chantel, if you'll just type something in here so I can pin your name to the screen. There it is. I see it. Yeah, right here. So Chantel, that's how you spell her name. Just Chantel. You don't have to put the hills on there, at VidSummit.com. Oh, there it is. Here we go. She's got the whole thing right here for you. Okay, fantastic. So give me 1 second here. And I'm just checking this this channel real quick just to see what they got going on. Okay. Okay, so they're definitely publishing. This looks like it might be AI content. I'm not sure.
Giorgio, you're able to go?
Yep. So just confirm, Giorgio, you are able to make it to Dallas, Texas, September 29th through October 1st. Can you confirm that for me here in the chat?
Thank you, Manager Mike. Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I just need that confirmation, if you don't mind. And in the meantime, Niminati is going to be the next one. So if you want to put Niminati in, not if you want to go to VidSummit, then put Niminati into the chat here as well. And
you must be willing to get a Niminati tattoo if you win this as well.
There we go. Here they come. So did they confirm that they would be able to go?
I'm scrolling back here. Not yet.
I see that they say, wow, thanks.
Yeah, if something happens where you can't go, where you think you can't go,
definitely let us know so that so somebody else can get it.
Yep. Chantel, if you can help keep an eye on that as well, let us know.
Yep. Yeah, this is so exciting. Absolutely love it. Okay, here we go. And we're just gonna wait a second here just for a few more to come in. They say they should be okay to go to VidSummit. Okay.
Okay. We're going to hold you to that.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah,
if you can't, please let me know on like X or like x.com, or send me an email at askniman@gmail.com so that we can, give that one away next week.
I don't think you should hit that until we have 40. They're sleeping here, man. There's like there's 111 on YouTube alone watching this, and there's only 40 entries.
Okay, here we go.
And I guess you just in one ear and out the other on that. All right, well,
here we go. I'm just excited. I think it's great because this can be life changing for somebody. Like like whatever name comes up here, like this can be a life changing thing. Premier Travel. I almost thought that you had it, Jana. I almost thought that you had it right there because it paused on you for a second. I almost thought that you had it there. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, Cathay Fit. You can't. You can't enter again. So let me check out this one. Congratulations, Premier Travel.
Way to go.
Yeah, looks like you got one as well. So if you could also just confirm that you will. Because, it looks like, you are making travel content. So you might, depending on where you're at, just confirm. You might actually be in Italy here. I'm not sure. But yeah, just confirm that you can also make it to VidSummit. And that would be September 29th to October 1st. Says, yes, I can go. I'm located in New Jersey. Fantastic. Okay, so you got it. Okay, here we go. All right, D, give me a word.
Ankle monitor. Sly went walking, says I can't go. Ankle monitor.
That's the word, ankle monitor?
No. The word is going to be YouTube.
Okay, making that easy.
Why would the word be ankle monitor?
I don't know. That's why I was like, why would he say that? That's why I was like, ankle monitor? I mean, I didn't say it that way, but here we go. Here we go.
There's that kind of that up, that inflection at the end. Ankle monitor.
Yep.
Let's go.
Yeah, Jana says, I thought so too. Roll it again. Oh, this is great.
Keeping everybody on their toes with the word.
Yep. Love it, love it, love it. Here we go. Watching it count up here.
YouTube. I better see a capital T in there. If you don't have a capital,
T making rules.
Oh no, I set the rules. I'm setting the rules here. If you don't have a capital T, you are going to be disqualified. My rules right here.
As part of this tool, I should make a next.
Oh yeah.
Like either that or like a run again. So then that way, like if somebody's like, yeah, I can't go, I can just hit the button and then roll it again. Yeah, that'd be good. I might set that up for next time.
Now now there's 40 of them.
Look at that.
I think they were afraid of getting an Illuminati tattoo.
Yeah, maybe.
Cowards.
So we have 2 out already, right? This is number 3, right?
Spineless cowards.
This is this is number 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so 41. Okay, here we go.
Needs to be louder.
You have control of the volume. Oh, here we go. All right, Amber Smith, you are the next one. If you could just confirm with me in the chat that you can make it here. And I also like that he mentioned that that it should be somebody that hasn't gone before too. I think that's pretty cool. Okay, so Amber, I don't see you uploading content to your YouTube channel. So I just put it in. So as long as let me look here. So if you could confirm with me that that this is the correct channel. Because I don't see you uploading content right now, which is perfectly fine. But I just want to make sure that, that this is something because, it costs money for hotels and airplanes and things like that. So I just want to make sure that this is something that that you can get to. So if you wouldn't mind, please confirm that for me in the chat. Manager's Mike Podcast says, man, this is tempting. Sure is. So they can go. They already requested time off of work. Perfect. Okay, fantastic.
Who said that?
Okay, that's good. Amber Smith. Yeah, it's good.
Already requested time off work. That's getting ahead of it right there.
Yep, it's like, hey, I just won. I'm requesting time off work. They might have been considering getting one.
No, I'll tell you exactly what happened. They manifested this. They said, I am going to go to VidSummit. Therefore, I'm going to put in the request to take off work because I am going to VidSummit. Seriously, that's exactly how it happened.
Yep. Okay, so that's 3. And then I'm going to...
The next word is going to be creator.
Okay, creator.
No, make it video creator with a
we'll
capital V and a capital C. Make them type more.
Okay, so we'll do...
If you can't type it, make them work for it.
So we'll do creator. Yeah, you know what? I don't know if it does multiple. Well, it still would see it as a word.
Yeah,
so you
video
have to do it
creator.
all together, though.
That's right.
But video creator. All
That's
here
right.
we
Work
go.
for it. Don't make it easy. Come on. It's a VidSummit ticket. You're too easy on them. No space.
Yep, no space. It's got to be one word
That's right.
in order for it to show up. D's trying to trip everybody up here. Love it. Love it. Sinister D.
I'll tell you exactly what it is. I'm seeing how people pay attention.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
I do that when people reach out for video editing and stuff.
Yeah.
I give I'm like, I need, this information and blah, blah, blah. And then if they don't send me that information, then I'm like, okay, well, they don't,
Yep, you blew it.
Yeah, because they have their templates they'll send and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, this is, not what I asked for.
Yep. There is no space between the word video and creator.
Oh, this is so exciting.
That's how it
Absolutely
works.
love it.
That is how it works. There we go. They're paying attention now.
Yep.
Look at it now. 41. I think one more and we trigger that bad boy.
Here we go.
Skin that smoke wagon.
Tell me when, D. Tell me when.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Hold.
Yep. Hold.
Come on, one more. Hold. I feel like Braveheart getting, hold.
Yep.
Hold.
Yeah, it's not moving, D. It's not moving.
But I see him coming through the chat.
Yeah. Well, these are people that have already mentioned it. Yeah. So because each person can only go in there once.
Hold. Well, I guess we're not giving one away. Oh, there we go.
Oh, boom.
Attack.
Go,
Let's go.
attack. Here we go. Who's it going to be?
Freedom.
Who's it going to be? Jiggly Wiggly. Love your channel name, Jiggly Wiggly. Congratulations to you as well.
Way to go.
Yep. And the last one, this one right here, we're going to give this one to Sierra Stewart. Or sorry, so Sierra loves dogs, Sierra Stewart. That's going to be the last one for Sierra Stewart. So
Yeah, we're 20
yeah,
minutes
right
over.
now.
We gotta-
Yeah, let me check on Jiggly Wiggly. Yep, Jiggly Wiggly. So if you could confirm, I love it. You're doing like Muppet stuff. That's super cool.
Muppets?
Yeah, so basically they have the Grouch, the guy that's in the garbage can. Yes, they have him like
Groucho.
sitting here reading, Groucho, yeah, like sitting there reading books. Yeah, so Jiggly Wiggly, you got it. Just confirm that you can make it to Dallas, Texas. And then the last one we're gonna give to Sierra. We're gonna give it to Sierra. Sierra Loves Dogs is the name of the channel, but Sierra Stewart is her channel. So congratulations there as well. For everybody else, we are going to be streaming next Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern, of course. Big thanks and shout out to Derral Eves for coming on here, for being cool enough to give away VidSummit tickets, for being cool enough to come in and spend his time. So, Daryl's busy. You heard him talking about, the channels he runs, the businesses that he does. I know he does a lot of things for his church. He's a part of he's an executive producer for the Chosen TV and movie series, and, really busy guy. And it really means a lot that he comes on here and spends his time to, just share what it is that he knows, with us. And I really, appreciate that time. So, Derral, thank you so much for coming on. If you happen to see this part of the stream, for everybody else, thank you for hanging out. Just as a reminder, if you are somebody that's hit a wall, or if you are not getting the results that you're wanting out of your YouTube channel right now, just remember that YouTube is a learning curve. So when you first start, if you've never done anything like this before, there's just a ton of skills that you need to learn, and because of that, it makes it, to where there's a lot of, initial work, a lot of initial foundational stuff that you have to, get taken care of. So, because of that, just like anything else that you're going to start that's new, if it's playing an instrument, new job, anything like that, new hobbies, there's just a bunch of stuff that you got to learn in order to get proficient at that thing. YouTube is the same exact way. So hang in there. You got this. If, other people can do this, you can too. If you're trying to do it professionally or as a hobby, you can do it. You just have to go through that process of learning, be patient, and, keep trying. So hang in there. You got this. D, great stream.
Hey, great stream.
Yep.
I mean, we should be knuckling Derral.
Yeah, we should. Yeah,
Great stream,
Derral,
Derral.
great stream. Yep,
There you
thank
go.
you so much. And everybody have a great rest of your weekend, and we will see you next Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next time.